the low-value men.
The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site. You can believe that. You can believe that. You can believe that.
Contracted COVID, but says with a mixture of medicines, including the controversial horse dewormer that has poisoned hundreds of people nationwide, he's now recovered.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?
From the headlines to the whisper star, low value mail, low value mail at 9 o'clock, where truth and fiction take a walk.
Why don't you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon? You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
Our stories are.
Hot damn, everybody. Welcome back to an all-new episode of Low Value Mail on this St. Patrick's Day. Hope it's not too loud for you. I've had some odd complaints here and there of people saying that it's not loud enough. I believe John on the Patreon was saying it's not loud enough. I can't do my yard work. And if there's one thing that this show is, it is a yard work accessory. So it's a little louder now. So if you're thinking, hey, this is too loud, well, then you can just turn down your volume, because not everybody, a little ableist much, not everybody can turn down their volume. But it is a very exciting episode. It's episode number 140 of Low Value Mail. And joining me today, we have the incomparable Kurt Metzger coming on in the second hour. He's going to be joining me. I know he's one of the most requested guests, and Nick Bryant was supposed to be on again tonight, but unfortunately he fell ill. Epstein related? I don't know, but he'll be back on next week, assuming that they don't get him. Who's they? I think we all know. But happy St. Patrick's Day, excuse me, to all the drunks watching the show right now. I hope you're loaded because we got a banger. So before we start, I have one of these super chat gold dealies that I've been doing since they started offering this thing. If we hit the super chat goal, I'll be doing an extra 30 minutes of open lines at the end of the show. That makes it a 3-hour show. So if you want to do that, we'll have more show. And of course, I'll read all your super chatters, plus one lucky super chatter will win a 6-month Patreon membership. Patreon.com/lowvaluemail, MAIL. What do you get with the Patreon membership? Once we hit 500 members, which we are, I believe we're 170 something away, something around there, which is also the number of free Patreon members. So if all the free Patreon members just became a paid Patreon member, I could give one of you $500, but you don't want to. You want to have a free Patreon membership, which gives you nothing. You get absolutely nothing. Although I do an extra audio episode once per week that comes out on Thursdays, sometimes Saturdays. And I made it available to everybody this week, just so you could see what you're missing. But this was a one-time deal. But anyways, one of you will win a 6-month membership, and then you'll be eligible to win $500. Pretty sick stuff. So support the show, patreon.com/lowvaluemail, MAIL, to help me continue bringing you literally the best call-in show on the planet. Is there a better call-in show? I don't know. Coast to Coast used to be good. Stinks now. Stinks. It's just all ads for crystals. So anyways, let's get to it. Shout out to Vincent. Join the Patreon pussies. Vincent knows what's up. You guys are all pussies though, which is also what he said. So JFK Files will be released tomorrow. Very exciting stuff. 80,000 pages. You guys need to prime up your autism, everybody, because you got some light reading to do. After the Epstein Files debacle, I would say the expectations are pretty low. Pretty low, safe to say. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be getting much, to be honest. And I actually have it on good authority. I can't give a lot of details here, but someone who I know, who may or may not listen to this show, I've said too much. But they work for the federal government, the United States federal government, the one that we care about. And if you recall, Donald Trump was supposed to, in I believe 2017, in his first term, he said that he was going to release the JFK files. There was some sort of 25-year moratorium or something on it, and they said they passed some law in the 90s, basically saying in 92, basically saying in 25 years, whoever is the president, they can just release them. And then Trump said he was going to release them, and he didn't. Last minute, he didn't. And from my source, essentially what happened is there was some very clandestine meeting where certain parties were brought in, essentially saying, you cannot do this because what's inside of here is very damaging to the nation should this come out. I think we can all surmise, or at least you can assume, which is a synonym of surmise, that the reason was because whoever was responsible was still alive. Now, it's been 8 years. Maybe those people are dead. And now we got the green light to let this bad boy fly. Let this puppy fly. I don't know. But for those of you that are hoping it was Israel that did the JFK, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably not going to happen, which will likely be proof for many of you that it was in fact Israel. If Israel is not named, basically, if you think Israel did it, if they're named, then you are vindicated. You go, of course. See, that's what I've been saying the whole time. If they're not in there, you go, see, sneaky Jews somehow managed to do it and still keep themselves out of it. One step ahead. But we'll see. Donald Trump's approval rating right now. And look, I don't love talking about Trump every week either. There's nothing else to talk about. The guy just dominates the news. I mean, he is the news. Especially at the clip he's moving at. Man, it's the amount of shit he's doing is just blows your goddamn hair back. But it is interesting. And you know, I'm going to be opening up the phone lines in around 20 minutes. We're going to do about a half hour of open lines. I do want to hear from you. Someone says I'm so drunk. James Scroat. I am not so drunk. I have had 0 drinks today. I had an energy drink. I had a new tonic. Has some caffeine in it. I had a Diet Dr. Pepper. Suck it, RFK Jr. Suck on my Diet Dr. Pepper. It's literally the greatest drink that's ever been invented. Hands down. Absolutely hands down. But so I do want to hear from you specifically about a few of these things. Trump's approval rating is increasing coupled with worsening economic sentiment, which is very rare. I don't even know if there's any precedent for it. Generally, the way the economy goes is how the approval rating of a president goes. Those two things are firmly tied together. It is tough to have a bad economy and people be like, this guy's doing a great job. I live in my car now, but man, this guy's doing good stuff. But this is the rare scenario where that is in fact happening. So I do want to hear from you specifically, you know, how are you being affected economically? Now, if you're Canadian, that'll be a very different story than if you're American, but I do want to hear from you. You know, what do you like that he's doing? What do you don't like that he's doing? Hopefully there's something that he's doing that you don't like, assuming you're some like diehard Trump supporters. I can't speak anecdotally because they keep showing the graph of eggs. Egg prices have been coming down. They seem pretty normal in New York City, although my wife tried to order some eggs with our groceries today and she said there was none available. So I could be wrong on that. I don't eat a ton of eggs. I go through phases. Sometimes I eat tons of eggs, like a disgusting amount. And then, I mean, they are kind of like a weird superfood, but then sometimes I don't eat eggs. But my dad was in a grocery store in northern Miami the other day, and he sent me a photo, and they had 18 eggs, $16.49. And these weren't even like fancy eggs. They weren't like that fancy egg company that like went public 4 years ago or something. I can't remember what the name of those. They have fancy packaging, and they're like, we don't beat the shit out of our chickens and stuff. Like, real ethical eggs. Those ones are always expensive, but these were just normal eggs. $16.49. This is almost $1 a piece. Crazy, right? But still, even with $16.49 eggs, that is in Trump's backyard right there, North Miami. That is not far from Mar-a-Lago. I'm sure people are just eating their fucking $1 hard-boiled eggs, and they're loving life. But I want to know what you guys think about it. The Democrats are getting absolutely smashed, as they should be. 29% approval rating, as their party is in complete shambles. Really, their only strategy at the moment is Trump just fucking up. That's all they can really hope for, is all they can do at this point after the previous 4 years. And really, because, they still, even with Trump term 1, they still kind of own the culture. They're still able to censor you online. They were still pretty much running every major news outlet, every major company had a massive left-leaning bent. So even though they only had 4 years in true quote-unquote power, it was more like a decade, right? They fucked up so bad. And like I said last week, all they had to do was just be normal. They couldn't be normal. They just had to be normal, and they could have kept the train going. They could not do that, right? But all their strategies right now is they just hope that he just fucks up so badly that there'll be no choice but to elect them, which is not a good strategy. Because if he doesn't, if you're just being like, I'm just going to hope, he screws up, and you're like, okay, well, then you guys might not be in power for, I don't know, 2036? How does that sound? Does that sound good to you? But so anyways, Colin, I want to know what you think about this. We have a Poison 1553 drops a super chat. Here in SoCal, ever since the deportations, more apartments are available and have move-in specials with 1, 2, some even 3 months free. Ha ha ha. Funny about that. Funny how that works. So some of you are seeing some positive benefits. I have a friend I was just talking to. He's a realtor in Canada, in Ottawa. He's saying it's really bad, which makes sense because a home is a pretty major purchase, and the last thing anybody wants is some high degree of uncertainty in either their job, the economy in general. Here's the thing. It's amazing how this works. But if just a lot of people start to think that housing prices are going to go down, if enough people just think housing prices are going to go down, then they just go down. It's amazing how it works. That's enough. If just everybody believes it, similar to, certain deflation, things like that. It's just like eventually it works, right? But so Trump is just fucking on one, man. He's the worst. My least favorite thing about this current Trump presidency, besides trying to annex my homeland, is the fact that I have to go on Truth Social like more than once a day. Even once a day is too much. Who uses Truth Social? There's no reason to go on there other than to just see what he's crazy new decrees he's putting down. But so the new one today is he's invalidating all of Autopen Joe's pardons. Is that a good new nickname? Sleepy Joe to Autopen Joe? Autopen Joe's pardons are completely invalidated. Can he do this? I thought pardons were one of those things, even though pardons are kind of stupid because it is kind of the purview of like a king. And it seems like we're not doing that. I mean, I know lots of other countries like Canada does not have prime ministerial pardons. They don't give the leader of the country that. But for whatever reason, America does have that where they just go, hey, we escaped England and started this new republic because we hate having a king. But on your way out, we will give you some king-like powers just for like a day. For a weekend, you could be a king. Right? But again, I don't know if he can do this. I don't think he can. First off, Joe Biden, Autopen Joe, not the first president to use autopens. He's not even the first one. And the George Bush Jr. Department of Justice actually looked into this and determined that its use is in fact constitutional. So I think Trump just says shit. I mean, look, if he's clearly out for revenge at this point, and can you blame him? No, I really don't blame him, right? They tried to destroy him through lawfare, through many things, right? They tried to destroy him. Then they tried to kill him twice. Who's they? The Irish, obviously. But, you know, they came after him. The guy's mad. Fair enough. He's mad. But I don't know if you can remove these pardons. I'll tell you, because, you know, the Hunter Biden, the Biden family, literally people you would never fucking heard of were just like, here, this guy has a pardon. You go, what did he do? You go, oh, no, he didn't do anything. Why does he need a pardon? I don't know, but I'm giving him one. Fauci, the entire J6 committee, all received pardons. Now, obviously, this goes without saying, terrible precedent to set, because if this does hold up, then in however many years, the Democrats will eventually get back in. I guess if the plan is to just absolutely destroy the Democratic Party, you go, yeah, we're not worried about retaliation because they are not going to exist by the time anybody other than us even holds any power. But you think probably not the greatest idea, but maybe he just wants them to sweat, man. Imagine Fauci's just fucking scrolling through Twitter, got his feet kicked up, being like, man, I am untouchable. I got my Biden pardon, Auto Pen Joe. They can't do jack shit to me. Oh, well, that's not good. That's not good at all. So maybe that's the point, is just to make him sweat. I mean, you know, Hunter Biden's sweating. His pardon went all the way back to, was it 2013 or something? 11 years? You know, he did some bad shit. He did some stuff. I mean, he did some bad shit that we know about, but you know he did some bad shit we don't know about. So maybe he's the point is just to make him sweat. I don't know. Trump's also stripping all the Biden family of their Secret Service detail. Seems petty. He's getting petty. I mean, again, you tried to kill him twice. What do you expect? You get a petty guy. Again, bad precedent, because the rule is you only get 6 months for the family after the presidential term ends. So we're already at what? 2 months. So he's just stripping them of 4 months. And the pretext was that Hunter Biden's in South Africa, even though apparently his wife's South African. So that's why he's there. He's one of the good South Africans, if you catch my drift. One of the good ones. But again, bad precedent. We also, and this is one thing that I'm sure many of you have, I imagine many of you are not happy with this, those of you who voted for Trump, but he's announcing that any aggression or retaliation from the Houthis in Yemen will be treated as aggression from Iran. Seems like he's itching for a little war. And now I know many of you voted for Trump because you didn't want more foreign wars, which would have likely been the case under Kamala. I was preparing for the show tonight, and I was honestly thinking, I go, what would this podcast be right now if Kamala Harris was the fucking president? What would we be talking about? Like, would she just be doing, would it just be like nothing's going on? She's just sitting courtside at a Lakers game or some shit. What would she be doing? Or would she be starting even more wars? I don't know. But, you know, part of the selling point of Trump was no more foreign wars. Seems like he's itching for it. Now, again, art of the deal, all that stuff. Maybe it's a lot of bluster. But the Houthis don't seem like they respond to just threats like that. They don't seem like they're like, oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was upsetting you, Mr. President. We'll stop attacking all your naval ships post-haste. And again, you know, the Houthis, and not to defend the Houthis, but, you know, their side of the story is this is essentially due to the Iraq invasion, which, again, was pretext of that was completely false. Fair enough, not happy about that. And then, of course, the U.S. support of Israel in the ongoing conflict in Gaza, which has just, the ceasefire, I believe, in the last 30 minutes is over. So that's back on one more thing to deal with. Trump's got a lot of balls in the air right now. A lot. And again, maybe that's the plans for the Dems is they're just like hoping one of these things blows up in his face. He's got a lot on his plate. Also, the deportations are not going ideally, in my opinion. In my opinion, they're not going. They removed all the migrants or illegal immigrants, whatever you want to call them, from Gitmo. Their big plan was to house 30,000 of them in Guantanamo Bay. They sent like 300 over there, and then for whatever reason, they're like, this is too expensive. I don't know if it was too expensive or it was just not practical, but they literally sent them there, and then they sent them back to the U.S. And, obviously, I'm not saying he shouldn't do the deportations. The deportations are, again, what people voted for. But remember, the estimate of illegals in this country with standing deportation orders, nobody knows the exact number of illegal immigrants here. It could be, I would guess it's got to be like 20 million or something. It's got to be way, way up there, right? But they had 1.4 million of them with actual standing deportation orders. Like these are people who committed crimes, were ordered to be deported. I guess oftentimes they live in sanctuary cities, whatever. But in order for them to just get the 1.4 million in 4 years, that's 1,000 a day, which they were getting at first. But then again, all these people were like, oh, they're looking for us now. So then we need to be a little craftier with evading ICE. So, and now they're at the point where you're seeing stories every day of people being like, yeah, some German guy or green card holders, or some Canadian woman who had her visa revoked. So then she had the stupid idea of being like, oh, my visa was revoked at the northern border. I'll just fly to Tijuana and then try and get in from San Diego and see if they'll approve my visa there. And then she went there and they're like, your visa was denied. And then they just put her in detention for 2 weeks, sleeping on a mat and shit. But again, I know some of you are like, yeah, this is great. It's not exactly the promise we were going for. The promise was, the murderers and the rapists and stuff. That's who we want to get rid of, right? But anyways, I want to hear what you think. You know what? I'm just going to open the phone lines up right now. Phone lines are open. Let's hear what you have to say. 1-888-949-2969. Do you approve of Donald Trump? What do you like? What do you dislike? Are the JFK files going to be a whole lot of nothing? Is it going to be anything? Logan Sorter says Trump is threatening because we can actually fuck shit up, but he doesn't want to go to war, just to use fear to stop the aggression. My best guess. Dylan says, just FYI, remember when you had Alex Stein on and I called about Pegasus being stored where the drones were in New Jersey? Well, Trump just ended sanctions on using Pegasus this week. Interesting. Pegasus is the Israeli spyware that they can put on your phone, if I'm correct. Connor Brown. Connor, that's my dog's name. He's also, give a little thought for Connor. He's going back into surgery on Thursday. His last hip surgery didn't take. Again, he's 0 for 2. What are the fucking odds? These things are so expensive too. 0 for 2. So now he's got to get the fucking top of his femur chopped off. Stinks. Connor Brown says, Canadian here. Pretty much every young guy I know who makes any money is looking at moving to the States. I could buy a house, but who the fuck wants to buy in Canada right now? Fair enough. Logan Sorter says, Danny selling the idea of The Secret. Yeah, you just got to manifest it. You got to manifest it and make it happen. I mean, I'll tell you, I spent a lot of time on Twitter, and the thing that I probably most cannot believe with this whole Canada, and I managed to go 25 minutes without talking about Canada. Are you proud of me? Are you impressed? But because there is, I said it last week, in my opinion, if Canada does eventually merge or get annexed or whatever, the big domino to fall will be Alberta. Alberta will secede because they feel like they're not treated fairly. They'll be used as a pawn. They have, they make tons of money. They have tons of resources, and there has been a minor secession movement there for a while. But I literally go into comments and, I read like what people say, and the amount of former Canadian military members, which this is the last people you would think. This is such a difference between American patriotism and Canadian patriotism or nationalism or whatever, is that if someone was formerly served in the United States military, for the most part, if there was a threat of U.S. annexation, regardless of the benefits of it, they would be like, no fucking way. I will fight for my country. I will not roll over here. Whereas I've seen so many people, and like I click on their profiles, they are legitimately like people who are like 20 years in the Canadian military who are literally saying, hey, let's do this. I am absolutely down to join. I'm not fighting for my country. And we had a caller last week who was in the Canadian military who echoed something similar, but straight up, they're just like, fuck it. This is not something I'm fighting for. I honestly don't even mind the idea. And if Canada has to become a part of the United States, so be it. I will not, I will welcome it. Not even I won't fight for it. I won't fight against it. I will welcome it, which is not something you really see often. So let's take some calls. I'll do my best to get to as many of you as I can. First up, we got a caller from the great White North. Hello, you're on Low Value Mail. Who am I speaking with?
TJ.
TJ. What's up, man? How's it going, TJ?
Not too bad. I just wanted to get one of the phone calls in case everything goes belly up.
Sure.
I know you were talking about a month ago, maybe ending all the phone calls and.
No, I'm not. No, it's a call-in show. I'm not ending the phone calls.
All right.
Yeah, hell no.
$50 profit and everything.
Yeah.
Nonetheless. No. I think, I don't know. To me, it feels odd with the trade wars because I guess it's 25% now, but before Donald, he hit us, the Canada with the tariffs. I don't know why everyone's getting so go Canada all of a sudden.
Well, considering that you were supposed to be ashamed of being Canadian 6 months ago, it was quite literally a point of Justin Trudeau is quite literally a former Prime Minister. Justin Trudeau, feels nice to say, but that was, quite literally a point of shame.
Yeah, but that's embarrassing. It's
I agree.
Like, everyone knows your politicians are corrupt, but you're supposed to be good enough not to get caught.
Fair.
And he just keeps getting caught, and he keeps getting like, oops, I didn't mean to give $200,000 to my family. I'm sorry. And it's like, come on, bud. Come on. At least the fucking Fords do it a little bit more shady, and it's like, it's hidden.
I mean, Doug Ford famously his family owns a printing business, a large printing business. And during COVID, they basically gave his business all the contracts for remember everywhere where there'd be you go to any business and there'd be circles on the ground that were you were supposed to stand 6 feet apart in the circle. And that was the social distancing circle. So you knew where to stand. It was exactly 6 feet apart. His business had all the contracts for that.
My point exactly.
Yeah.
You have to do a little research. You have to work into it. And then you find, corruption.
Yeah.
He's just he's pissing in the wind without realizing that's not a good thing.
You're saying this for Trump or for Trudeau? Or
Trudeau.
Oh, Trudeau. Well, he's gone now. Trudeau's done. That's over.
Well, yeah. I also think it's funny that people don't realize how the Canadian Parliament / the system works, because you don't elect a dude. You elect the representative of the party.
Yeah.
Therefore,
well, you elect a member of Parliament.
Technically, Trudeau could have been swapped out, or any leader of the Liberal Party could have been swapped out every month.
Sure.
Legally, and it's not a...
I mean, that would make the country more of a clown show than it already was. I can't.
Yeah, but it's still... Well, hey, man, I'd rather be fucking... Play the violins when the Senate...
Sure. So my question for you, as someone who lives in Canada, where do you live in Canada?
Quebec.
Quebec. So what is this? What is the conversation? La Belle Province. What is the conversation right now in Quebec? Because Quebec, for people who don't know, they actually had a referendum to leave Canada in the 90s, which almost was successful. It was very close. It was 49.8% or something to 50.2. It was super close where Quebec would have left. Quebec receives the most equalization payments out of any province in the country by a huge margin.
We also produce the highest amount of maple syrup and hydro hydroelectricity.
Yeah, and hydroelectricity, right. So what is the conversation about all this annexation in Quebec?
It's weird. Like, Quebec's always kind of been one of these, oh no, it's like Quebec and Canada, but now it's all of a sudden it's like, no, we are Canada. We work together. Fuck Trump. And I'm just looking at it. I'm going, huh, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's kind of
super
switched.
weird. Everyone, like, it feels like everyone's bonding together over something to the point where I'm like, this makes no sense.
Well, that's usually what happens in wartime. I mean, I think trade war, any war, everybody kind of comes together for a kind of like singular thing. But there seems to be a lot of people in Alberta who are kind of in favor of some sort of separation, not necessarily joining the United States, but if they were to separate them, that would be what happens.
Try becoming the 51st. Like, it's not too different from Louisiana and stuff if you go back in time.
Yeah.
But, like, overall, I don't know, man. Like,
and what about you? What about you
if
personally?
America wanted to take over Quebec and be 51st, I personally, I would love to be a part of America, 51st state. Quebec, that is.
Quebec. But what about you? But you would have an issue if you would have an issue with Canada becoming a part of America in totality?
I honestly, personally, Danny, I'm still upset that we're a Commonwealth. I don't like how we're still a part of the Crown, and technically speaking, the King of England can technically dictate what Canada does.
Yeah, but that's all like they don't do that. But,
we're paying $500,000 for the representative of the king.
Yeah.
Technically, the queen died, but before it was the queen. But nonetheless, it's shit like that I go,
right.
Can we not be like Canada, like a country, not a Commonwealth? And
right. I agree. I agree with that. I think if anything, if Canada doesn't join the United States, they're going to ditch this whole Commonwealth stuff at a minimum.
Have you sorry, going a little on tangent. Have you ever played Fallout?
No, I'm a grown man.
Fair enough. Well, it came out, I think, 17 years ago. So
okay, fair enough. No, I've never played Fallout. I tried watching the show for a minute, but.
Well, no. Long story short, America annexed Canada to fight China and Russia because they took over Alaska. It feels like it might become that reality.
Interesting. I mean, I forgot about the movie Canadian Bacon with John Candy and Dan Aykroyd from the 90s, where literally it's so funny. If you go watch the trailer for it, it's like America is they're trying to gin up some like nationalist pride. And they're like, we don't have anybody left to invade. And then they're like, well, let's invade Canada. It's pretty funny. It might be worth a rewatch. Anyways, I gotta let you go.
Honestly.
Yeah.
If anything, you got to pay Trump. We'll pay to watch you watch it.
Sure.
I'll pay you to watch it. You
That's a good point.
I watch.
Oh, not a bad idea. All right. Thanks, man. All right. Let's take another call. And we're going. Okay. We'll save this one. Hello. You're on Low Value Mail. Who am I speaking with?
Yeah. Hey, this is Jack. I had my bachelor party in Montreal this weekend.
Oh, how'd it go?
It actually went pretty well. So the first night, I made the mistake of having poutine while drinking, and I had some pretty nasty jumps the next day.
I mean, that's the only time you really should be eating poutine as well drinking. I mean, if you're sober and you're eating poutine, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. That is a specifically a drunk person food.
Yeah. So whoever owns Pepto-Bismol in Canada, I love you, and thanks for thank me for all the increase in sales. And then I went to the Canadians game against the Panthers. We got our fucking asses kicked.
Canadians are looking good right now, actually. They might sneak into the playoffs. For the first 2.5 periods, it felt like any other sort of hockey game I've ever been to. And then they just start doing the wave for like 10 minutes. And usually, it's kind of like a late, every now and then they'll try and get it started at the South Florida sports events. Sure.
But this was like, they were in, like, I've never seen something like that.
Did they boo the U.S. anthem?
I would say it was about a 20% boo.
20% boo.
Full on, because half their good young players are Americans. Like
Sure.
I was looking through like
Yeah, Lane Hudson, Cole Caulfield.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like you can't really boo those guys and expect them to re-sign.
Right.
I do have to say from the feeling, it's more of like I was in line to check in, and the flight up was pretty much full. And the lady behind me was all freaking out because apparently, if you stay in the U.S. longer than 30 days, you have to carry around papers with you.
They are saying apparently that does not apply to Canadians, though, from what I understand. They're not.
Really?
They're not applying because they said that was like a blanket order, but I believe it's not applying to Canadians. But maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know the full details.
Yeah. So I think the older Canadians are freaking out. The flight back was basically like probably about 25% full.
Yeah.
So it does seem like the boycott is a very real thing.
Oh yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, Canadians now, because all this news is getting spread where they're like, yeah, this woman from Vancouver, even though it was like a visa thing, she wound up in like a fucking like ICE detention or facility for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I think they're kind of like starting fearmonger a bit in Canada that are like, hey, you just go to the States and you look at a border guard the wrong way and like you're going to wind up in a nice detention facility. So I think alongside the fact that people are like, we don't want to support America economically, even though millions of Canadians go to Florida every year for months at a time to avoid the winters. Yeah. But I think some people are a little rattled. And then I think some people are straight up just like, yeah, we don't want to spend our money in a country that's trying to take us over.
Well, it's also like the condo market down by us is like I live in the Fort Lauderdale, Broward area. I grew up around Hallandale, which is like that's right where my parents stay. My parents are snowbirds, and they stay right around there.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of like the Quebec city of Florida.
Yeah, full of French Canadians. Full of them.
Yeah, and they refuse. They refuse to speak to you in English. It's like
just like Quebec.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because there was at one point. So they had like the Molson Cup or something out, and we have to walk by it. We wanted to get a group picture.
What the hell is the Molson Cup?
Some guy. Yeah, it's like a team. The team MVP award, but they just had it sitting out, and so we were like, "Oh yeah, let's get a picture with it." And we had no idea what it was, so we had to like try and talk to like these like old Quebec just sitting around and drinking beers right next to it, and like they did not understand. Like literally, I'm like doing the picture thing and saying photo, and giving them a phone, and they couldn't figure that out, and it's like.
I mean, legitimately, they might have spoken some English and just sensed you were American and just didn't want to help you.
Yeah.
It is certainly
I was
possible.
wearing a Panthers jersey. So.
Yeah, they probably are like, fuck the Americans right now. I mean, I'm surprised that, like, I can't imagine Americans are, I mean, some are welcome. I'm sure there's some Canadians who'll talk shit. But otherwise, good time in Montreal?
Yeah. Everyone was friendly, was wearing a Panthers hat the whole time, didn't get any anything really nasty, and I was.
It is funny. You'll get more guff as someone from Toronto wearing a Maple Leafs jersey than an American wearing a Panthers jersey.
Yeah, there were at the game, like 2 rows in front of us, there were just Maple Leaf haters. Well,
that's every person in a red sweater in that arena is a Maple Leaf hater.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm sorry. I was getting confused. This was a guy in a Maple Leafs hat just watching the game and hate on the Canadians.
Ah, gotcha. That's a weird thing to do, but fair enough.
But yeah, overall a good time, and hopefully it gets less grimy up there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of the allure of Montreal is that it is specifically grimy.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of go there because you're like, it's kind of grimy here. If you want less trash on the streets, you go to Toronto or something, but Montreal is kind of seedy. It's why we like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Later. All right. Let's take another call. We're going to go back to Canada, specifically Saskatchewan. Hello.
Hello.
What's happening? Thank you for calling Low Valley Mail. Who am I speaking with?
Connor.
Connor. That is my dog's name. My dog's name is
That's
also
right.
named. My dog's name is also named Connor. How's it going? Connor from Saskatchewan. How are things?
That's right. Things are good. I'm out in Victoria right now for work.
Okay. Nice. Lovely Victoria,
yeah.
British Columbia.
Yeah, it's all right. Fucking lots of yuppies.
Yeah, there are a lot of yuppies there. The yuppie city. That's for sure.
It is, but whatever.
So what's up, man?
Not much. Freaking trying to move to the States, I think, is the plan. I'm getting married in 3 weeks, and I think moving south is the move.
Are you getting married to an American?
No, I wish. That'd make things a lot easier.
Yeah. Well, what is your plan? Are you going to open a business or? Because
I do construction, so I can start a business. Like I have a business here, so I can start a business there. I work with a guy that's in the process of moving there right now, so I think I can get a job working with him.
So you live in Saskatchewan. I'm curious what the tone is because the two provinces that I think would be the first to go. If Alberta goes, Saskatchewan likely follows, in my opinion, because they're the two provinces that are like. Do people in Saskatchewan are that you talk to people like are they?
Well, I live rural Saskatchewan, so like there's some sentiment around me. Like for the last 5 years, there's been sentiment around me.
But that's about
wants to
leaving, separate and become their own like independent country. Not join the United States.
Most people are on board with joining the States.
That's crazy. I mean, it's just crazy because like, I guess it's such a new concept that it's even available. But I think people grossly underestimate how many Canadians actually would be very open to this. And I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see.
It would be the best case.
Yeah. There will be some sort of referendum, I imagine. Assuming this continues.
Yeah, there's some sentiment.
Assuming this continues, and I think Trump knows exactly what he's doing with this. He sees a country like I saw something where Canada in the last decade had like the lowest GDP growth out of any like major country. Like it was like the country basically had a complete lost decade, completely stagnated. And I know like Saskatchewan is resource rich, and I imagine you guys are paying a lot of money to people from Quebec with your whatever equalization payments or whatever, which if people don't know, it's kind of like a sports league where the rich provinces
where Quebec gets everything.
Yeah, where the rich ones pay the poor ones. So people where you're at, they're down with moving to America. They're into it.
And like in the rural parts, there's definitely like in the cities, there's definitely more fake nationalism, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I feel a real certain type of way because I was in a convoy on the island when it was all going down. Like I was a convoyer.
Right.
And now all these people that were calling me a terrorist are like flying the flag, and like it's just bananas to me.
Right. So you have a specific issue with it, but yeah, I really think there's a lot that's grossly underestimated, and it's not in any like Canadian media's benefit to start actually accurately reporting on this, that there's like so many Canadians who actually want to leave, because that'll probably just kind of start the snowball rolling down the hill. But I do think it's way more than anybody thinks. Especially out west. But I mean, like, I know people, I don't know, like, how old are you?
I'm 31.
31. Like, yeah, I honestly think like the real nationalist Canadian pride, like, doesn't really exist in younger people. Like
it's all the boomers.
Like the boomers, yes. Yeah, the boomers, yes, for sure.
Gen X, the system worked for them, and then, I don't know.
Yeah, but the people like your age, or like, I can't imagine like someone in their 20s as like a diehard Canadian, like patriot. Like I haven't seen any indication of it, and I just don't really believe that. And nobody will fight for it anyways.
No, like growing up, we had like Canadian hockey at least that like made us proud of our country, but like we haven't even had that.
Right.
Like if you were born in 2000, what would you have seen for Canadian hockey that would have like?
Well, you would have seen the golden goal, Sidney Crosby in 2010, but beside that, not much. And I mean, we obviously had the game a few weeks ago, but that was an all-star game.
That was bananas.
Yeah, that was great. But again, that was still just the All-Star
If we
game.
would have lost that game, we would have had to we would have been the 51st state immediately. We would have survived that.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. So, yeah, it seems like a lot of people are into it. All right. Well, I'm going to let you go, man. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah. Have a thanks.
Appreciate it. Connor from Saskatchewan. Oh, we got lots of Canadians. Lighten up the lines. All right. We're going to get to all the Canadians. This is like CBC cross country checkup. You guys don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about unless you're from Canada. Hello, Chris. You are on Low Value Man.
Yes, hello.
How's it going?
Mr. Polachek, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I feel fantastic, man. Just wrapped up some video editing with my boy up here in Toronto. We trying to get on this comedy shit, you know?
Nice.
Yeah, very good.
So,
2 questions. I'm calling in. Number 1, I wanted to ask, one time I sent you a direct message about an idea for an AI comedy idea that I had one time, and I only sent it to you because I figured if there's one man for the job.
Was it the Mark Carney one?
No, sir, but I have one of those on deck too.
Okay, I got a lot of people pitching me ideas. What was your idea?
It was a superhero squad consisting of Drake, Frankie, and Justin Trudeau.
See, the thing is the AI videos I make, I need an original video that I can then do the lip sync over top of. So like if the actual video doesn't already exist, besides like when I did like the Kamala Harris on Joe Rogan, which took me like 2 days to make it, but unless like the video really already exists, it's really difficult to do. I don't even know how I would do it, like with different people, unless they're like they've been on video all together. I don't think I can do it.
Sure. I guess one of my questions would be is how valuable is that to send just direct messages to people that you want to get in touch with? Like how often do you read and respond to these?
I read them occasionally. I almost never respond to them. I occasionally read them. Generally, the problem is that people don't understand the actual like intricacies of the actual producing it. So then they'll just pitch me something. I go, I can't even make that. Like I can't even if I like the idea, which I generally don't, but even if I did, I'm like, I can't make that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Interesting. And one other quick question I wanted to ask you, because, you know, we arrived at a bit of a conclusion today that a lot of our humor is we're actually unintentionally kind of trying to unify these voices because of a lot of our stuff does seem sort of polarizing, or that we're poking fun of the left or the right.
Sure.
But not so. That's not the intention. So we noticed a lot of our stuff is actually the aim is to kind of bring things a little bit more centered and bring Canada back as a voice of being cool, reasonable people. Finally, like enough of this.
Well, I don't remember when Canada as a nation was ever cool, but certainly we've had cool people. I don't remember some sort of international general consensus that Canada was cool, but
I think it was. I think we were always kind of seen as maybe not being super big whiners. Is kind of what I'm saying.
Sure, I could see that. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, just you know, it does really matter who you vote for, and you know, sometimes you put people in charge and they fuck it up, and you know, Canada just went so off the rails. Like Canada went so off the rails the last 10 years where it may not be possible to get it back, especially with this Trump threat.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. I guess is like we have to be careful not to let it fully go the other way, because that's equally as gay and stupid. So we're thinking like it would be nice to have a little bit more of that sort of idea back, a little bit more down the middle sort of Canadian thinking. And my other question to you, I guess, would be, if Canada ever does become something that's a little bit more relaxed, is this a place you see yourself coming back to, or do you think you're...
I mean, if I come back to Canada, it's because things are really not going well, or if I bumped into Dr. Phil and he deported me. Those will be the only scenarios. I mean, I'm trying to be comedy. Like it's not the place to be. I obviously love Canada, and it's a good place to start off doing comedy, but there's no industry there. They don't make anything.
There's no comedy industry here. It's kind of wild for such a big place, and everything else is thriving.
Yeah.
I hate to say that,
Yeah, there's absolutely no comedy industry, and even if you do make anything, it's basically you got to get paid, and it's got to be signed off for by literally the government. So like, best case scenario, you're making government comedy.
So that's kind of what we're doing as well. Is like we're musicians primarily, and we mess around with the comedy space. So, and you know, like the great Norm Macdonald said, is you can't fully parody somebody without having, you know, a genuine love in your heart for that person. So we realized all of these things that we're not really coming down on people. So whether or not Canada was seen as a cool place, we kind of want to maybe try to become a bit of a voice for a cooler head, you know, enough of this highly elevated voice. So hopefully maybe we can do our little part here, but we love you up here in Canada. I hope to see you next time you come through. And,
absolutely.
And congrats to everything. Things are going well, and everyone loves you, bro. So
thanks, man.
And shout out. I'm here too to let the Americans know we show up because they're not liking all the Canadian love tonight. But let's bring it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Chris from Ontario. All right, we're gonna get to a few more calls here. We're going all Canada. I know I didn't talk about Canada at all, but all these callers are from Canada. So, hello, we got Mark from Alberta. What's up, Mark?
Hey, Danny. I just want to back up the Saskatchewan guy there.
Yeah, go.
It's over for us. It's time to go.
Interesting. So you're a full Alberta secessionist.
100%. I would be gone in a second. It's right around. I actually tried. It's really hard to move to the United States.
It's incredibly difficult. People have no idea how hard it is.
Wildly, I tried to move to Wyoming and be a power linesman.
Yeah.
Shortly after the trucker convoy, and it's just bloody impossible. I could not. I'm a 25-year tradesman, and I could not get an American company to sponsor me.
Oh, people have no idea. Like
I thought it was going to be a walk in the park to make it
oh,
happen.
Hell no.
So I don't see a way out.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is because a lot of people, like what I was referencing, is people on Twitter, especially in the Alberta secession movement, but just like Canadian people, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I would love to take it." And then people are like, "If you don't like it here, why don't you just move to America?" And you're like, "It's fucking impossible." It's not like it doesn't work that way. You don't just be like,
impossible.
Yeah, you don't just decide you're moving to America and then go. It's like it's really hard. Costs a lot of money. To just even try.
Our money is monopoly money, right? I could have $250,000 in Canadian money. That doesn't really get me very far in the States if I'm going to move there.
Well, not after the exchange rate. No, definitely not. But so where do you live in Alberta?
Let's just say Northern Alberta.
Northern Alberta. I was just wondering if you're in like a large city or not. So, and what's the general consensus among people around you? Are they just like, we're done with this country?
It's mostly like the gentleman from Saskatchewan said. All of us people that live more of a rural lifestyle, we're all ready to go. But all the people in the city, all the people, especially in Alberta, I don't know. Well, you don't know, but you're coming to Edmonton soon.
Yeah, I'll be in Edmonton in May.
It's one of the most liberal cities in Canada. Right?
Sure.
It's the only place that has a sitting Liberal or NDP MP in Alberta.
Right.
So yeah, the sentiment is different, definitely urban compared to rural.
Sure. Well, that's the thing is, I think if the economic pain gets bad enough, people in the cities, because I think honestly, like the younger people, like I said it, but like they don't have the ties to like Canada that like older generations have. Like they don't have that like nationalist identity. I think it will really go away fast. Like if it starts getting really economically painful and they go, there's such a clear way out of this, which is just,
Unfortunately, I think you're wrong. Unfortunately, I think you're wrong about that. The younger generation is so willing to take government handouts,
right?
That I would see us moving into more of a
like a nanny state.
Well, it's not the nanny state. It's where I can't think of the term for it right now. Where they just pay you to exist.
Sure.
And everyone just gets paid to exist.
Yeah, but you know what?
I think young people are much more likely to fall into that. They're not like maybe where we paid for 25, 30 years and worked.
Yeah.
And now have something. The younger generation just wants to have everything that I have that I worked 25 years to get.
Right.
Right. And they have no concept of they actually have to earn it.
Sure. And I think for a period of time, yeah, I think for a period of time, I agree with you. But if Trump actually like nails the landing on this whole tariffs thing, and then they start watching everyone in America start prospering economically while they're just like stuck in the mud, and there's just such a clear way to resolve that. I know, like, obviously, because there are lots of people who do want to work. Obviously, there are people who don't. But I think the longer it goes on, if this is short-lived, obviously, then no. But if this like drags on like years and years, eventually even those people, I think, will be like, look, it's just common sense at this point to just get this over with. That's at least my opinion on it. I got to let you go, though, but I appreciate it. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Danny.
Mark from Alberta. Okay, we're going to take one more call. This is all Canadian. Okay. If I didn't get to you, I'm sorry. You can call back. Hopefully we'll hit the, it looks like we'll hit the super chat thing. We'll have an extra half hour at the end of the show at 11:30. I want to hear from you. We got Mr. S from Ontario. Last call before the break. Mr. S.
Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure. How's it going?
Going okay. I'm in Alberta, so.
Oh, you're in Alberta.
It's relevant right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I moved here like 8 weeks ago.
You moved there 8 weeks ago. Probably a prudent move, assuming you eventually want to become part of the United States.
Yeah, might get some citizenship. Yeah, this might have been a good idea.
So, are you interested in America absorbing Canada, or at least Alberta?
The thing about that issue is that the only arguments for staying in Canada are emotional arguments.
Mm-hmm.
The arguments for going with America are all economic arguments.
Correct.
There are no economic arguments not to join, basically.
Yes.
And before we get any further, I just wanted to say I really liked your segment the other day, and I've just been thinking a lot about that segment and like what you talked about there.
Specifically, which one?
Can I tell you my top 3 Jews?
Which segment? Just to refresh my memory.
Top 3 Jews.
Oh, top 3 Jews. Yeah, go ahead.
John Leibowitz.
Yeah.
Natalie Hirschlag. Aubrey Graham.
Who's the second one? John Leibowitz is Jon Stewart. I don't know the second one.
Natalie Hirschlag.
Who's that?
She was in Star Wars. She was in that.
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Hirschlag. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know she changed her name. I didn't know she was one of the name changers.
It's full Israeli name.
Oh, didn't know that.
Anyway, so about Canada, I just wanted to say that there has been like a huge change in education from like 2003 to like now.
Yeah.
And I can see it because Ontario and Alberta are very different. And in some ways, because Alberta like doesn't spend money, so like all this stuff is old. So you can see exactly how it was, like a time capsule. And it's funny because it's the province that gives the most money to Canada, and it doesn't spend any on its own. It all goes to Quebec.
Yeah. Yeah. Quebec is, I didn't realize the degree to which Quebec just sucks up money from the rest of the country. I don't know what the justification is for them getting, it's like $14 billion that Quebec is just literally given for existing. Just because they don't want to, they're just kind of like, we don't want to be part of Canada, so give us $14 billion a year?
I think it's corruption. I think it's just that they have like the mafia. The only mafia that still exists in Canada is in Quebec.
Yeah, I know.
And I think it's just graft and corruption. I think that's just all it is. If we had a Doge in Canada, I think Quebec would get squeezed out. But about the education, because Alberta is like cheap or whatever, they don't even spend like money on their own stuff. So I can see all the resources from 2003. And like what they were teaching the kids about like our history is kind of the exact opposite of like what the Americans kind of do. Like what they're teaching now in schools, like 2025, is like everything Canada is wrong.
Yeah.
We're a shameful nation, and like we need to be embarrassed about our past. Everything we did is evil. If you ask any kid, like, tell me something about Canadian history, they all say the same thing.
Yeah, just Canada's bad.
That's it. Residential schools. That's all they know. They don't know anything else.
Yeah,
and
which
like,
again,
the exact opposite of Americans.
Should Canada end up getting annexed and joining the United States, they'll look back on that as a cautionary tale where you're like, look, if you just beat into your populace that you're just all bad and there's nothing to be like proud about your country, then eventually you just kind of soften the ground for people to essentially just be like, okay, well then this place is bad. Why don't we just kind of start all over here? And just not be Canadian anymore.
Okay, Danny, skill testing question.
Yeah.
Do you know the second president of the United States?
No. Andrew Jackson?
Oh. It's John Adams, but do you know the second prime minister?
Diefenbaker?
No, exactly. So like the whole point is like we don't even know our own goddamn history, where the Americans, it's just like they worship their history.
Right.
We've abandoned and like overwritten our history. And I've been to like schools and stuff in like the Middle East and Turkey, Iraq, Lebanon. I've been in some places, and like they teach these kids to be nationalists. They teach these kids like they don't even teach them like the bad stuff they've done.
Right.
They just say no, they all deserve that. They all got it coming to them. And these kids like they are loyal to their nation. And
I mean, I would have. It's funny because I would have probably put myself in that camp, but I also didn't learn any of that shit. I was probably like the last cohort of people where like all we learned about, even though it was boring, was like you learned about like, you know, the fur trade and like there wasn't any like real negative shit about Canada.
What kind of history is this, Danny? What kind of history? Like we're a nation which like only exists because of a beaver. Like what is it?
Sadly.
We're so much more than that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no.
so in Alberta, I'll just say what the sentiment is here is the tariffs or whatever hadn't hit here, but if the price of trucks goes up, these guys are out. That's all they fucking care about here.
Yeah.
Trucks.
And they probably are going up. The price of trucks are going up. The only
so far, not from what I'm seeing.
Well, it's been, you know, a week or two.
Not yet. Once
give it
the price
6
of trucks goes up, Alberta's out of.
Also, if Trump is legitimately hell bent on just destroying Canadian car manufacturers, then if all Canadian trucks are actually imported from the United States, well, the only hope there is that the U.S. dollar tanks so badly, which is part of Trump's plan, that it kind of offsets and the price don't. But yeah, if the price of trucks goes up, that'll do it for Alberta. I mean, I imagine I would love to see an actual legitimate poll of how Albertans feel about this, because I would guess it's way higher.
It's pretty sympathetic. But when Trump says stuff like we're not a legitimate country, like when you think about it, it's cheaper for me to book a flight to here to Las Vegas than it is for me to go to Vancouver. Yeah,
Right.
we aren't a real country.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I got.
Good point.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks,
John
man.
Leibowitz, Natalie Hirschlag, Aubrey Graham.
All great Jews. Later, man. All right. We're going to go to a break while we wait for Kurt to come on. Let me read a few super chats. Anton says, America, fuck yeah. South shall rise again. Shout out to Johnny Glover, the blood of Robert E. Lee. Dylan Farm says, on the bright side, white girls who go to find themselves in India can just go to Canada while enjoying a bad exchange rate. And by exchange rate, I mean non-consensual advances. Nice. And do we have any others here? Dainty Turtle says, enjoying the Canada talk. I'm glad. This is literally like my version of cross-country checkup. And again, you Americans don't know what I'm talking about, but it's a big Canadian thing. Rams Reef says, boys, Berta wants out. Fuck the East. You are dead to us. They took our guns away. Anyways, can't fight. Boys. Yep. Logan says, Trump is threatening because we can actually fuck shit up, but he doesn't want to go to war. Just use the fear. Oh, I already read that one. Okay. We're going to go to a break right now. If you're on the line, I apologize we couldn't get to you, but we will likely have an additional half hour at the end of the show. Please, before I go to a clip from last week's episode of The Bathhouse, like and subscribe to the channel. If you're an audio listener, make sure to follow the podcast, leave a review. Also, you can support this fine Canadian-American show that I do at patreon.com/lowvaluemail, MAIL. You get a bonus episode every week. Plus, you might win some money, and we got a new episode of The Bathhouse tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Also, if you want to see me live on the road, Vancouver and Edmonton dates coming up pretty soon. Tickets at dannycomedy.com. And you can catch your boy on Fox News this Saturday night at 10 p.m. on Fox News Saturday Night with Jimmy Fallon. All right. In the meantime, enjoy a recent clip from last week, from last week's episode of The Bathhouse. I will see you very soon with Kurt Metzger. Don't go anywhere. Lil Dan, how you doing, buddy? Haven't talked to Lil Dan in a minute.
Now, are you a rapper or a midget?
No, he's just a wigger.
Oh.
He's probably really big.
Just a wigger.
That's hilarious.
He is Lil, though.
Lil, okay.
Yeah, sometimes because, it's like they're opposite. But
right,
he doesn't fuck well. Do your friends call you Lil Dan? Is that like kind of the name?
Yep.
That's the moniker, Lil Dan? That's how they all have you saved in their phone?
Well, I was always the youngest, too, so.
Oh.
Wow.
Indeed.
Cool. So how are things, Lil Dan?
Chilling.
Lil Dan, what do you
nice outside, pull my other car out and shit.
Cool.
I feel you, my nigga.
Nice.
Does that feel good to have a black person say that to you?
I mean, I have it all the time. I got a bunch of black friends.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me too.
That's like that Daniel Simonson joke.
He was really keeping from saying yes. It feels so fucking good.
Was it a joke?
Daniel Simonson.
I was the only white person in my black friend's wedding.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got a white friend like that too. We all do.
Yeah.
That's
You know, I don't know if I said the W word that you all said the other day to my girlfriend, and she was like, she had never heard it, and she was like, "That's really racist."
No,
and I was
it's
like,
not.
Against who?
"Well, you are saying the,
I have two.
you are saying the N word."
I've got, okay.
Nice.
Trump's in office. We can say wigger.
Also, here's the thing. What else do you call him?
No.
There's no
That's
no
a good point,
second
too.
word for that kind of guy.
You know what? I'm not
Real
judging.
whites would call
I'm
him a
not judging.
disgrace.
I said it the other day.
Here's the thing.
But it is quite the loophole for saying the N word.
Well, you're not saying the N-word, but also, if black people were like, Dan, what do you prefer to be referred as?
I mean,
African American.
I don't call myself a wigger, but I don't get mad at it. Like, you call my brother a wigger, he's like, I ain't no fucking wigger.
Oh, your brother doesn't like it. So that is a slur to you. Your brother is...
African American. That's it. That's the term, right? African American.
Pop enthusiast.
Or Wallard people.
Wallard people.
Yeah, see, this is all more racist. There's something to be said for the cultural heritage of the word wigger.
Yeah. Where its roots came from.
It started all around 1998.
You think
when
that's more racist than
Arkansas-
African American?
Let me tell you, country grammar had just come out.
And it started in 98.
1990.
Yeah.
I just like calling it the W word
the year I
because
was
it's like a
born.
funny.
You were born in 98? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It definitely originated for sure when like the
It's Eminem.
like,
Eminem
hip-hop.
was probably like
Eminem.
No, I think it was before Eminem when like just rap like supernova. Like with
As a
Jay-Z.
wigger, I don't claim Eminem.
Interesting.
I don't see him as
talk about
he's
it,
not,
King.
I don't see him as a.
What are you listening to, Lil Dan? Who are you listening to right now?
I mean, I listen to a bunch of shit, but I listen to honestly, I listen to like Cut Your Wrist music for real. My brother fucking be like fucking, I fuck with Lil Peep. That's my favorite.
Lil Peep. That makes sense.
Lil Peep?
Do you like Jello?
Are these bands?
I think they're rap.
Yeah,
Leangelo Ball. He's
oh.
LeVar Ball's son.
So out of touch.
crazy
Like,
they
do you
really
like
call them
Jello?
the
Do you like yogurt? Do you like orange juice?
is
I can't
crazy.
tell if it's shit in the fridge or rappers.
Are you a young
literally,
Thug fan, Little Dan?
How old are you?
I'm 40.
So me too. Like Jews, eventually we just like find our final form of like like Jello.
Yeah. Jewish.
Do you like mustard? What you got? Little mustard? It is like that because the Kendrick Lamar song. I pointed to you because you're black.
I understand. No, it happens.
The Kendrick Lamar song.
Explain yourself, please.
He's like, yo, mustard, turn on the beat. Everything's like a condiment or Jello now.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Hey, Mustard is.
Mustard's been around.
What's
though.
Mustard?
He's a DJ.
He's a DJ.
Oh, gotcha.
He's a producer.
Oh, so it's like
he produced
so
the
this is
record.
the new version of DJ Clue.
No,
it's like saying DJ. They always
Yeah,
they always
it's
shout
like-
out
it's like,
the
yeah,
fucking
it's,
producer.
It's how you know it's his track.
Every time I have to
Mustard
get
on the beat, ho.
like I tried to listen to that
That's
song.
very good, sir. Good.
Thank you.
I'm gonna just admit something embarrassing. I thought he was saying monster.
Oh, really?
It's okay.
It's not that bad.
That's okay.
It is a spooky song, so you're not wrong for thinking of that. It does. There is a little Scooby Doo to it. They're like, ooh,
you monster.
Raggy. Spooky.
Turn the TV off.
Little Dan, how are things in your world?
Yeah, I was chilling with this bitch, and she was like, would you fuck a crackhead? And I was like, well, what's your definition of a crackhead?
Good answer. Good retort.
Nice.
Throw it back in her face.
Because I fucked bitches that smoked crack, but they wasn't crackheads.
Right.
Fair. And we're back, everybody. Kurt Metzger, the one and only. How's it going, man?
What's up, buddy?
You're
my screen weird? Hold on, let me see if I can
Hold
fix
on.
this.
I have to. Oh yeah, you look good to me.
Nope, there's no way to fix it. That is what it is.
It looks good. So what's up, dude? How are things?
Not too bad.
Welcome.
I'm in Austin.
You're in Austin. Welcome to the lowest value show known to man.
Yeah.
Low value mail. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very
You're
exciting.
answering some mail.
Well, no, we have call-ins. We're gonna have some call-ins coming on.
Oh,
yeah, we have some call-ins. I'm sure some people chomping at the bit to ask you some questions. So I have some questions for you.
Okay.
We'll just start in order for get your thoughts on some things. Are we gonna get anything on the JFK files?
I don't know. I have no idea, dude. Absolutely not. They're nowhere to be seen.
I know. Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. Is literally
It's not really files. It's like you could go on there. Ian Carroll showed it. Like the Epstein files are all online, but they have these big blocks blocking out all the names and shit. So it's literally like go online and unblock the shit. You don't have a truck of documents.
Right. You think it's gonna be all redacted?
I don't know where it is at all. And I don't know. I mean, could Israel have done both things? Come on.
I don't know. They're pretty exceptional. It's a pretty exceptional country. They got their fingers in a lot of different pots.
Yeah, that's true.
They probably could have done it. I was saying at the top of the show that I'm like, if Israel's not named in the JFK files, then that'll just be proof to many people who think it's them that they did do it. You know, if they somehow managed to keep their name out of there.
Who was it he worked for if not Israel?
Oh, no, not Epstein. I'm saying for the JFK files.
Who killed him if not Israel?
Yeah. Come on.
I'm asking for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I said, when they go, why would they, everyone's dead now? Why would they be? Well, Israel's not dead. It's fighting for its life, as a matter of fact.
Sure. I mean, the war just started up again like an hour ago.
Oh, yeah, then that bullshit with the Houthis. You know the Houthis have been, the ceasefire happened last year or year before?
No, so fill me in on this, because I actually don't know a ton about the Houthis. I know they're
Houthi
like
terrorists. Okay, number one, they're not called Houthis.
What are they
They're
called?
like Ansar Allah or some shit. I mean,
okay.
I'm not going to say that either, but Houthis a lot easier. But they're not rebels. They're the legitimate government of Yemen.
Yeah.
They control the part where the people live. There's a government that either we or England installed that nobody. The Houthis are the ones running it. That's their country.
Yeah, that's their country. They're basically. So is this a regime change in your opinion? Is
this is to get Iran? This is to get to war in Iran. That's
war
what's
in Iran?
for.
Yeah, because I saw the Trump tweet from earlier today, essentially saying any bullet fired by
They haven't been
Houthis-
firing for a year or so.
And so
Who's reporting on today?
what started it up recently? Because did they not attack some American
Israel
terrorists?
wants to go to war with Iran. That's what
Right.
started up.
Right, and so
that's what it is.
And so they're essentially just they're targeting the U.S. To basically fight against Israel, who the U.S. backs, obviously.
They were, because they were until the ceasefire happened under Biden.
Yeah,
Biden was bombing them.
Right.
Then they had a ceasefire, so they're not firing a shot. If they fire one more shot, they will be annihilated. They didn't have a fighter shot. That's bullshit. It's all made up. That's Israel's bidding. So. What I think is Trump made a deal when all that lawfare was happening for those bullshit charges he had to go. Remember they're going to bankrupt him like they did with Alex Jones?
Yeah, they're going to bankrupt him. Then they tried to kill him.
And then his stock went way back up like the next day. And I remember laughing like he's like the Roadrunner.
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely the Roadrunner. He cannot be. That guy could not be taken out.
The Roadrunner didn't cut a deal with the widow Adelson and so. That was the deal. I saw people thinking he's blackmailed or something by them, but I don't think he is because he really doesn't do blackmail things you could blackmail him for.
No, he's squeaky clean, man. In a weird way.
If you had compared to anybody in government except Thomas Massey, who's probably the only honest person, but
yeah,
he cut that deal. So the deal is we get rid of all the. It's like we're leaving Ukraine our side piece and going back to our first wife Israel, like I said a long time ago on your guys' show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and do you think like this is just because a lot of people voted for Trump under the pretext of no new foreign wars, right? That was kind of the deal. And he, at least Trump 1.0, kind of kept that part of the bargain. Like the word.
Well, let's hope they all knuckle under to Trump's threat so that there is not a war.
Yeah, how much do you think this is just bluster on his part to kind of avoid war? Versus, do you think he's actually itching for it?
I think stupid goddamn liberals think Elon Musk is secretly in charge because they're stupid and they don't understand anything.
Sure.
But it's actually, he's going to make good on his promises to Israel. That means the Greater Israel Project. That means all that Wesley Clark has that old speech where he talks about the countries that were on the list. So the only ones left are Iran and Iran. They got Syria.
Yeah.
Al-Qaeda runs Syria, by the way. And Al-Qaeda runs Syria.
Really?
Who do you think the president of Syria is now?
It's just an Al-Qaeda person?
He's the leader of Al-Qaeda.
Crazy. I didn't know that. Oh, yeah, because Assad's out. Yeah, I forgot that Assad's
Yeah, who's that good for?
You know what's interesting? I actually, when I went to probably this would have been over 10 years ago now, I went to Turkey. And when I was in Turkey, I went on some dates with this girl from Syria. When I was there, I was just there traveling by myself, and I was on Tinder, and I just matched with this girl from Syria. And she was a Syrian refugee. This is after she was I think living from Aleppo, and it had been she would show me these videos of just she was a teacher at a school, completely it looked like fucking Call of Duty. Her school. It looked like a map on Call of Duty, completely bombed out, huge caliber bullet holes everywhere. But she was we actually
illegally occupied. Oh, I'm wearing the shirt of Operation Timber Sycamore.
Yeah,
that was Obama's operation.
Yeah, and that was what
emails
to get rid of Assad.
Friends with Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, but she legitimately is she's we all like Assad, to be honest, and she was a Christian.
Yes.
She wasn't even a Muslim. She's
That's right. The people that don't like him were Sunni terrorist Muslims.
Yeah.
Why? That's weird. Why are we friends with the crazy terrorists over there, but they're bad? We're deporting a guy here with no actual crime charges.
Sure. Yeah, I was.
That's really upsetting, dude. After all the woke bullshit that everybody yapped about, one of the worst free speech violations of my lifetime is what he's doing now.
Now, do you? Because we were talking about this on the Boys Cast last week.
Yeah,
I am of the opinion, as someone who considers myself a guest in this country, I'm not a citizen of the United States, right? And me and Ryan actually kind of disagreed on this, where I'm I wouldn't personally, as someone who's not a citizen of the country, hand out death to America pamphlets. I understand it's protected speech, but I'm of the opinion that I don't
know
actually
what he did or didn't hand out. There are no charges against him. And
no, I understand that.
Watching, so whatever, if he handed out pamphlets that said that,
yeah,
you could say that, but I haven't seen anything that proves it. I know there's a motive to lie about a guy who protested for Palestinians.
Sure.
We don't have to tell you what the motive is there.
Yeah.
If he did something wrong, charge him with a crime.
But that's the weird thing. Well, he's not green card and visa holder.
Green card holder that is not a visa.
No.
Person in charge of that, basically the law says, no, you get all the rights. He's a naturalized resident or whatever they call it. It's a green card.
Yeah, he's a green card holder, but he's not a citizen.
It don't matter. You get all the rights of. What do you think? You get a second class amount of rights, and
I feel I act like I'm a second class citizen here.
It's called act like an American because Americans are punks now. Everybody in America.
Well, I think that's acting like a Canadian in America.
Oh, they turned American. Dude, I'm relentless when I talk to people about stuff because I want to see them say these words. And I've gotten 6 people say, "You just say the words, and I'll leave you alone." I just want to keep my head down and do my job.
Yeah,
I got 6 people that you know and I know.
Oh, for sure.
After
in comedy.
Yeah, well, that's the country, dude. I just want to keep my head in. Wow, rah rah America. Well, how inspiring. That's what the fuck America is now. I just want to keep my head down, do my job.
Yeah.
And I'm personally not grateful if they kill woke crap. That's just normal reality that I should just get. So that should have been thrown the fuck out. Woke shit. The Palestinian thing's not woke. If you're a dipshit like that pie-faced idiot Jeremy from the Quartering who throws woke in the fucking Zionist thing, nah. That's nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
That's some fucking side weird LGBTQ shit. Good, get it the fuck out. But don't lie. Tell me a crime with the guy. What do you mean he helped terrorists? And I watched that little piece of shit, Narco Rubio. That's his old nickname from Florida.
Good nickname. Solid nickname.
No, I didn't make it up.
Yeah.
Narco Rubio used to live with his coke kingpin brother-in-law, who was later arrested. So he spent all his young years living with this $75 million cocaine empire guy who later went to prison.
Yeah.
Hey, Marco, are you going to deport your brother-in-law? Because he was a cocaine dealer.
Sure.
That's a lot worse than a guy maybe handed out pamphlets. What's the charges again? Oh, there aren't any.
Yeah. And 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 the due process thing, I definitely take issue.
You can express any opinion you want if you got a green card, and you go fuck yourself.
Well,
That's
green cards
despicable what
can be
despicable what they did.
Green cards can be revoked though. Green cards are not like once you're a naturalized citizen, because there's a whole movement in Canada right now.
Yes, the law is the head of the State Department.
Yeah.
So it's it's the whole government's will doing their bidding of what they've been told by the people that run them, which is our best friend in aircraft carrier in the Middle East. Marco Rubio, that's his call.
Yeah.
So I watched this sack of shit, this closeted sugar in his shoes sack of shit. Talk to the dingbat from whatever, Face the Nation. Last time she looked like a moron.
Yeah, Margaret Brennan.
She's talking about how free speech caused the
because the Nazis. Yeah,
Nazis. That dumb bitch.
Yeah.
And I'm watching her go, what about free speech? Now we're doing a little game where their roles are reversed.
Yeah.
Who about free speech? And I watch that stupid, you're a guest in this country. Go listen. If you're upset about someone supporting Hamas, okay, and I don't remember Hamas attacking America ever, do you?
No. I do not.
If someone expressed sympathy for the Tamil Tigers, I wouldn't say deport them. So what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Israel's not our country. I'm not against it existing. I'm not against Israel. I'm against the murders they did in everybody's fucking plain sight. But hey, that's our best friend. They're allowed to do it. Go right ahead and murder all them people. Wherever you want and do all that shit. What choice have we got? Put my money towards it. Okay? I believe in Israel's right to choose. You know?
Yeah.
Gaza's your womb. Gaza's your womb, and you have to make a tough call and go in there and kill some kids, and we should pay for it. Okay, understood. I'll talk any shit I want about it. Yeah. Number one, okay. Number two, I'm not jumping on board with this. And any conservative that went along with this, you're a dipshit if you did. This is why the conservatives are so fucking disappointing. We just got done with 12 years of these asshole Democrats doing this shit, and now Trump just did one fucking worse. And people are going to say that dumb fucking shit. Now, not Candace Owens, God bless her. She ain't going to say that shit. Mm-hmm. It's not all of them, but the Zionist dipshits are going to say it. So the PragerU kind of fuckwits, they're the ones that are going to say that nonsense thing about, well, if you're a guest, that means you can't talk about another country that's killing people that you know just because you're related to those people. Now, here's an interesting wrinkle that I've only seen Max Blumenthal and Aaron Monte report on. That guy is an asset of British soft power.
Yeah, what is up with that? I was seeing some things about that where he has
been vetted by Five Eyes.
Yeah,
he's been vetted as in no way connected to terror. Right. You don't see England say anything, stepping up to say anything, though, do you? So I know for a fact he was never involved in any terrorist things, and he was vetted before he came to this country. Everything Marco Rubio said. Do you think Marco Rubio tells the truth now that he's in the Trump thing, that he just changed or something?
Yeah, he's just like changed, totally new guy.
Are you all stupid? I don't know who I'm talking to. I'm sorry. So, so anyway, that's a big crock of shit. Now, the Venezuelan gangsters, good. Kick them the fuck out. I don't give a fuck. That's criminals.
Now, do you care that they're saying that
telling the truth?
Now, do you care that they're saying they're not receiving due process?
Fuck them.
Sure,
Yo,
I agree.
You're in a gang.
Yeah,
that's not the same. Yo, stop trying to make Hamas anything like MS-13.
Right.
The only person that I know of who really supported Hamas, and I don't mean with pamphlets, is Bibi Netanyahu. It's a verified, unvarnished fact that sack of shit supported Hamas for 20 fucking years on purpose with your tax dollars. That happened. So that means October, what day was it? That's your fault, asshole. I gave up on Hamas back in 2006. I said, I don't think these guys are any good, and I'm not going to support them. But Bibi personally made sure they got money through Qatar. That's how you pronounce Qatar, by the way. Qatar.
Yeah, Qatar.
And to prevent, and I quote, a two-state solution. Some people are going to try to deny he did that now, but, dude, it's already established it happened. And the old argument, when I bring it up, brought up to Avi Liebman, because he called me, do you want to go on Jimmy and talk about Hasbara bullshit? I'm like, Avi, like Jimmy knows about this shit, though. You come on. And I brought up that Bibi paying the terrorists. That's supporting terrorists. Should he be allowed in our country? He's a guest. But I brought that up. He goes, well, do you know about game theory? I go, Avi, shut the fuck up. Game theory. You cunt.
As a Jew, that sounds like a very Jewish answer. I go, have you heard of game theory?
Nah, Indians will give you that answer. Don't worry.
All right.
If you study game theory, anyone watching a show, if you're a game theory expert that's going in the government, I hope you die. You're a pox on this fucking earth, and go fuck. I can't say that shit. You're gonna get your show fucked.
Yeah,
I can't think less of you. If you bring up game theory to me when I'm talking about a goddamn genocide. Now, I don't call it genocide. I don't want to be deported, even though I'm from here somehow.
Yeah, you're good.
You know who calls it genocide? The fucking Nuremberg laws.
Netanyahu can't go to Canada, or soon to be 51st
that guy,
state.
Look, again, let him do. It's our best friend and aircraft carrier. Okay, kill them people. I guess kill all your sons and daughters in a war with Iran. Go ahead. I don't ever want to hear about Vladimir Putin ever again, dipshits. I don't ever want to hear how Putin is bad, because he's a goddamn prince that God put on this earth compared to Bibi fucking Netanyahu, whose real name is like Wilkonsky or some shit, by the way.
Yeah.
The black Israelites have more claim than Bibi does.
What's
the
your
Polish guy from Philly?
Yeah.
You know DNA tests are illegal in Israel? Did you know that?
I did, yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, because we'll see you're Polish.
I think we all know they're Polish. I mean, Israel's mostly
That's
full
the
of
thing.
Russians.
We all do know it. We were politely not saying it, but you had to ban. But you have to ban a DNA test. Why would you have to do that?
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yo, that shit's for. I'm hardcore anti-Muslim and Arab and prejudiced. The reason I want to make that clear. You think I would listen to Hassan Abi or some shit? No.
No.
A dirty Turkish nephew? No.
I like the Turks.
Jews told me. Jews told me what's going on.
Sure.
The ones that are honest, like the King Norman Finkelstein. And then those psychopaths that are in the IDF came on our TV and they went on TikTok and bragged about their crimes, not just to me, but to your liberal Jewish kids in college. Most of the protesters are Jewish kids, not Arabs. Did you know that? You must have guessed.
There was some, I was reading today about some, I think one of the Columbia students or something, because Columbia is like revoking people's degrees, which is like the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life. But then this one guy's like,
it's kind of insane, isn't it?
Well, you're like, what does that have to do? Well, the fact is, you're like, okay, well, I finished my courses. Like, I have my degree. Although I never got my degree from my school because I had a bunch of library fines that I refused to pay. So I just didn't get the piece of paper. But they're like, they're just like, and this guy's
Did you
like,
give the money to Hamas instead? Is that
what? Okay, what about, did you see the Brown professor that they also canceled her visa? So there's a Brown professor today, and we'll get off the Israel topic because I have some other questions, and we're going to open up the phone lines actually. And
they're also, because that guy is soft power of England. Now here's a possibility, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And England is, people think Israel's the top of the pyramid of the fucking. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Shut up. No, it isn't. But the NATO and European, that's the fucking shadow government deep state right there.
Yeah.
The Five Eyes countries, okay?
Which apparently Canada, they're saying, is going to get kicked out of Five Eyes.
They're bringing that Dave Carney in.
Mark Carney. He's in now.
Why is England not defending a guy who's not a terrorist and was vetted by our alliance of people to make sure you're not a terrorist?
Right.
That's very strange. Maybe they're just hanging him out to dry. Or...
I mean, England's doing some weird shit right now, though, because England, oddly...
Because they're against... Okay, look. We've been a commonwealth of them for quite some time. Canada has become a Raj. In India, they had installed rulers.
Yeah.
That's Canada. Canada was a commonwealth. They're a Raj state now. We're a commonwealth. And Trump said, we're not part of this commonwealth no more. You're going to have to... they would get health care and we wouldn't and all that, and they just canceled NHS, Keir Starmer, the labor guy.
Yeah.
Because the only reason these assholes got to have health care and all this other shit was because we were paying all the military bills.
Right.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them. I mean, America was essentially defending the entire planet.
Yeah, and if you read Tragedy and Hope, which I told everybody to do, it's a long-ass hard book, but the goal in World War I, when Woodrow Wilson was in and when they made the Fed and all that, was to, quote, bring America back in the fold. And that's when they got us back, when they drug us into World War I. If you remember why we fought that war, it was fucking stupid. Like a guy, one cabbage ape shot another one. in a car. Who gives a shit? Why would we go to war for that?
Yeah.
One animal. I don't give a fuck about any of those people. Why would we? If I lived 1900, I'd be saying that. You know what happened? Under the Sedition or whatever act that Wilson passed, I go to jail.
Right. Over some fucking
That's when we passed laws.
Archduke. Was it the Archduke of Prussia or something?
About the America's going to war. We're doing this. It's the same bullshit every time. You think the COVID shit was new or any of this shit's new? They've been doing. I kind of look. I'm a shit. Now, luckily, I don't vote or believe in American democracy, or I'd be terribly crushed. Okay?
Yeah. Yep.
But I did tell you guys, like, if Trump does any of the shit that I want him to do, maybe I will vote next time because it means it's not completely fake. Well, it's fake.
Has he done anything you like?
Hey, is anybody mad about Doge? That's a dumb shit liberal near you. They don't like Elon, and they think Elon's running things.
Yeah.
Right? You know, that's stupid. Bill Burr's that stupid Sig Heil shit. I don't know what in the fuck he's thinking. You know, we've been funding Nazis for 3 years in Ukraine with your money, Bill. You worried about Sig Heil?
Yeah. Like real Nazis.
Saluted a Nazi. You know, Jon Stewart hung a medal on a Nazi at fucking Disney World. But you're worried. Yeah, I told you guys last time I was there.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to say hi to him, though, right? You're not going to cast aspersions on his waves.
No.
You really think Elon is Sig Heiling? You really think that's just like the okay hand signal? Remember that bullshit?
Remember the guy got banned from Wrigley Field over that?
That's right. So
that was like the OG, like when the cancel shit started really popping off. Is some guy like literally just did this?
If you're even thinking about the hand gesture any of them made, and that's where you're at, you don't know anything.
Yeah,
that means
a lot of people.
You don't know fucking it. Go watch sports, motherfucker, because you don't know shit.
Yeah.
Go memorize some baseball scores. Boston shit, because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
But here's the good news for the dumb shit New York liberals who are, I can't think of who I look down on more sometimes. Okay? Doge is worthless. You know all the cuts? Yeah, they're fun. We're fun. Hey, we're ending Guatemalan DEI. Yay! What's these wacky things they wasted our money on? Sex changes for people's cats in Cameroon. 6 million. Then they tell you the number. It's $6 million.
I know it's $6 million. You're like, our GDP is 39 trillion or 29
we
trillion.
Spend more money than that drumming up fake charges on people on behalf of Israel, motherfucker. What are you talking about? Where's the cut? Steve Bannon was correct. Okay. He goes, yeah, I like this because it was entertaining to see wokies cry. Again, I'm not going to be grateful because you killed off wokeness. I should have had that 10 years ago. That's just something I'm entitled to have done as a citizen, having my rights. So no, I'm not grateful to Trump for that. That's the bare minimum I fucking expect. Sure. That you kill DEI, you get that fucking repulsive flag the fuck out of my face every 5 steps. You know the one I'm talking about?
The Canada flag?
Yes. So, okay. The budget, the CR, the only honest guy in Congress is Thomas Massey.
Agreed.
But Trump tried to primary Thomas Massey.
Crazy, too, because he doesn't. I don't think he.
To the credit of MAGA people, they didn't go for it.
Yeah, they didn't go for it.
Only the Zionist ones went for it.
Yeah.
He's the only guy with that. An APAC handler. Did you know that?
Yeah. Let me ask my APAC handler. I'll confirm that with my. I'll ask my APAC handler and I'll confirm it with you.
I'm offended. I never even had one.
I'll connect you guys.
Nice shit. Yo, pay me to ignore your murders, motherfuckers. Come on.
Yeah.
I never get offered the money. It's like they don't trust me to keep my trap shut.
Yeah. The
CR, that continuing resolution?
Yeah.
There's no cuts. All they did was cut discretionary spending, but the same amount of money's going out.
Right.
Do you understand that?
Well, it seems like, from what I understand, the budget, the money spent for the first 2 months of this year from last year actually went up.
It's going up $6 billion.
Yeah.
For the Pentagon. So, no, remember Trump's talking about cutting the military in half? The spending?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that sounded like music, sweet music. About goddamn time you cut into those fucking murderous satanic fucks money. No, we're adding $6 billion. We're going to take those resources out of Ukraine and we're going to fully concentrate on the Middle Eastern Greater Israel Project because they want their borders to be with Turkey. So that means we're going to divvy up Syria with them, and Turkey wants part of Syria. Assad, anyone from Syria wanted Assad.
Yeah,
okay.
they did want Assad. That is a big misunderstanding that people have, where they're like, because they were like the butcher and all that stuff. You're like, no, they liked him.
No, that's all bullshit. And by the way, that's the thing when I watch, like, I hate to like keep singling out Jeremy from the quartering because, you know, it's funny. The dude, he's just in my feed a lot. And the dude has his team that edits his videos, I think does a great job. I'll see the thumbnail. I go, oh, I want to know about this story.
Yeah, great thumbnails.
Then the beginning, sometimes will be a really funny intro that his guy edited, where they digitally switch somebody's head and make like a meme. Great. So far, so good. Then Jeremy's big, round, dumb fucking face comes on and interrupts the whole thing to tell me about coffee brand coffee.
Have you had it?
The drop ship coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's his brand, coffee brand.
Coffee
his
brand
face
coffee.
is like face brand face. He sucks. Then I have to fast forward his videos to see the news article, so I just go look that up without him stumbling through it. Like all this production, and I don't even know, he doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
It's funny, but he'll cover, he must post like 6 fucking videos a day.
Oh, he's prolific.
Or stories I'm interested in. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's take that, woke terrorist. So they don't like Hassan, the dipshit.
Yeah, Hassan Piker.
Well, guess what? Hassan was right about the Houthis. They're not terrorists. Israel's a terrorist, and America's a terrorist. You know what terrorism is? Like Dresden, the firebombing of Dresden?
Yeah.
That was to terrorize the civilian population. Remember when they kept saying, oh, this is just like Dresden, that war crime? But the Ben Shapiro, like, oh, arguably it saved millions of lives. He said about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, arguably it saved hundreds of thousands of lives. Arguably, Ben? You don't have it definitely for me, buddy? And arguably.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have to do that, by the way. By the way, that's a lie that we had to do that.
What,
Okay,
Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
Yeah, but
yeah,
hey,
they had literally already capitulated.
But you know what? Japan was really bad, and they did kill and fuck them a little bit. Okay, so you dropped the one. That's kind of pushing it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then they drop another one. What was that for? To scare Stalin. We're the ones in charge now, to demonstrate our power. So they'd be too afraid to challenge us. And it worked so well that Russia immediately got nuclear weapons from us.
Sure.
From stealing.
It
worked so well. So all the plans of these stupid assholes always fail.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I want to tell everyone this, and we'll make it real clear. If we go to Iran, in fact, let's say we're going to war with the Houthis tomorrow. We could not win that. Oh, Iran, we could not win. We couldn't win a war with, you know, the war we had with Iraq? You know who won that war? Iran. They weren't even in a fucking war.
Yeah.
So
I mean, America definitely didn't win it.
Win. What?
America definitely didn't win that. That's for sure.
No, the people that wanted the war won, okay? It's just if you still believe in spreading democracy and liberty and these Patriot Act terms that are being thrown around, like it's the year 2000. I used to be a moron that was like, yeah, Patriot Act, yeah, go to Iraq. And a lot of dumb shit liberals, well, they weren't liberals. They were like, this is crazy. And I was like, shut up, 9/11. That's me, an idiot.
Yeah.
And then in 20 years, it dawned on me it was a scam. And it's not dawned on you when the same guys work on the clock, Bibi Netten, Polish Yahoo, is on the clock for both incidents. That's odd. If you worked at a tire store, the loss prevention guy would have an interview with Bibi about why this keeps happening, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
So he's one of the lowest pieces of shit that's ever lived on this planet. Putin is a saint compared to him. Putin's a saint compared to Obama. He's a saint compared to Barack, fucking not born here, wife's a man Obama. And by the way, I don't think he's born here now.
Really? You're full on birtherism or whatever it's called?
I'm with DeSantis on it. Did you see the video of the graphics guy looking at the official government website?
No.
And left the Photoshop artifacts in Obama's fake birth certificate they posted on the official.
No way, really?
Yeah, dude, it's amazing when you watch it, because the guy like me is like, shut up, he was born. You're watching someone who thinks Obama's born here.
Barack Hussein Obama was not born in America?
And, well, I think it's unlikely after I watch what his birth certificate. Why would you have to fake that?
Yeah.
Why would you put up a fake and leave the Photoshop artifacts, the layering to make the fake thing?
Right.
It was fake. So Trump was actually right about that. By the way, Obama was a terrible, awful president. And I'm talking about during the Biden administration as well.
Yeah.
Okay? I didn't know he was. That was
I
the
mean,
guy
he was. He was the president.
Hey, here's my shirt, Operation Timber
Sycamore.
Sycamore. That's where we took over. I'm doing a charity called Shirts for Kurt.
Yeah.
Sent them to the mothership in Austin. I need one that says the Hannibal Directive, so it looks like Metallica.
Yeah,
you know the Hannibal Directive, right?
Of course. I'm
If
actually
they take a hostage. We kill the hostage. That's
Yeah,
his. Dude, if I lived in a country and that was their policy, I wouldn't be loyal to that country. They're going to shoot me. And I've covered this since it happened. They've been shooting their own hostages. 2 guys escaped, waving their shirts to show they're not armed, speaking Hebrew. Bam, 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 got shot by the IDF.
Yeah, that's their policy. We had this guy who calls in, Joe the lawyer. He's an Orthodox Jew, and he called in. He basically said the explanation for the Hannibal Directive is that they've just had so many hostage situations that just end badly regardless. So then they just, well, we're just killing you. It's cold-blooded.
That's why they didn't want the hostages back for so long.
Yeah.
Oh, you know all the terrible crimes? The SRA. What can I call it? Can I say grape? All the grapes that Hamas did.
Yeah.
Remember?
Uh-huh.
And then they chopped the heads off 40 babies. Remember?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then they were hanging babies up on clothesline. Here, I'm going to say the stupid things that aren't true that were blathered by imbeciles.
Sure. Yeah, the
And we know
babies
they're not
thing was
true.
nonsense.
You know how I know? You could debunk it reading Israeli news.
Yeah.
Not American news has Hasbara money making you stupid. Their news is more honest than your news.
Yeah.
Theirs.
And also their leaders.
From us.
Yeah, their leaders are a little more discerning because I remember the dead babies thing. And then Joe Biden just that day was like, there's dead babies. And you're like, no, there's not. Nobody said that. And then Joe Biden said it. And they're just like, okay, well, I guess.
The New York Times article about the terrible grapes that happened that dark day, that's all fucking fake. That's a lie. It's already been debunked. I already know it's a fake.
Have there not been women come forward saying that they weren't there?
No,
women
they wanted hostages. Here's why they did that. Besides, Bibi wanted them to do it. And besides the idea of telling those kids, no, go ahead, have your rave next to the concentration camp. There shouldn't be a problem. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And why shouldn't you rave next to a fucking concentration camp? God bless you.
It can happen to anybody.
And gliders, these guys did all that damage? No. They wanted hostages because Trump or whoever was doing that Abraham Accords, where Saudi Arabia was going to recognize Israel without even addressing it. And had that happen, everyone in Gaza is dead.
Yeah.
Okay, so they were dead anyway. They were already dead anyway. They wanted to kill them off already a long time ago. So that's why they did that move. As far as the blown up cars and all that carnage, that's the Hannibal Directive. And I already saw that guy that Bibi fired on Israeli TV being asked point blank by Israeli journalists. Did they issue the Hannibal Directive? He goes, it was issued in some places and I'm not sure. Yeah, they did. So guess who did all those killings? The IDF killed their own motherfucking people trying to make sure they weren't taken hostage, which they were anyway. Then they tried to not get the hostages back. By the way, in the beginning, you go back and watch Jimmy Dore show, you can find all of it. We have the clips. I've already seen it. So you're not going to tell me it ain't happened because I seen it, motherfuckers. The hostages said they were treated well. They were treated quite well by Hamas. And then some of them were getting roughed up by the IDF because it's wartime. And in wartime, we will tell any lies we have to, right? I won't. I'll go, fuck you. I won't do that for my country ever. Mm-hmm. If right is right and wrong is wrong, and I don't care if it hurts the team, suck my dick. That's my policy.
Fair enough. Let's take some calls here. We got a bunch of people on the line here waiting to chat with Kurt.
I was very aggressive with no one answering back to me. So I
no.
imagine.
Hey, okay.
First
caller we have.
Want to make that clear?
What's that?
I'm not like Israel can't exist. None of that.
Yeah.
None of that.
Fair enough. I mean, this is America. You're allowed to have your opinion unless you're a Khalif guy. Hello, you're on Low Value Mail. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, my name's Dan.
Dan, how's it going, dude?
Do you condemn
not too bad.
Yes or no?
Do you condemn Hamas?
I was going to make that joke that I start every call condemning Hamas, and I've never called into the show before, so I wanted to get it out of the way. But I just listened to Kurt, and now I don't condemn them anymore.
I condemned them a long time ago. I want to make that clear. 20 years ago.
Yeah, Hamas, bad guys.
When I heard about what they were up to 20 years ago, I said, "Don't give them money." But
I
gotta pay these
condemn
guys.
Hamas. I condemn Hamas to the flag of the United States. I don't even know how the Pledge of Allegiance goes. I didn't used to do it. This is a weird call, Kurt. I have kurtmexican.com, the domain. I have an idea of what to do with it, but you can also just have it because it's your
I wish you had Kurt Metzger with the domain, but a gay-friendly realtor named Kurt Metzger has it.
Well, you have
is a gay-friendly realtor. You ask? I don't know. I thought legally you had to let anybody buy a house, but
sure. Now, are you interested in kurtmexican.com?
Man, not if we're getting maybe Kurt American. If you
Fair
had
enough. Fair enough.
The golf.
Well,
That's
my
probably
idea-
also taken.
My idea was to just do the Drudge Report, exact Drudge Report, but instead of having links to journalists and news media, just have celebrities telling the news like they heard it on a podcast. So just clips.
Oh,
of
that sounds like the talk
celebrities
down. That sounds like the talk down, the
And-
show I made with Kyle that we didn't make any more of, but it was celebrities telling you the news and how to feel about it. And
But you
it
would
was-
pick and choose the state, whatever Trump wants, whatever Kamala wants, whatever the state idea is, you would pick and choose. You'd cherry pick so that hopefully they would promote your website like they did Drudge Report.
Drudge Report I never got into because I didn't like that guy's hat.
Yeah, I don't like the hat. I don't like the Dick Tracy business.
But all of them are like panicking. There's no left or right. If you think that's the other thing that annoys the living shit out of me is like talking about the Tim Pool talking about the left. That's not the left, Tim. You know that dipshit. It's not the left. It's a fucking upstairs, downstairs. That's the situation. Populist versus establishment. That is all there is.
Anything else, sir? Sounds like it's a no on kurtmexican.com.
That's fine with me. I can let it go.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Oh,
So-
I did have one
Yeah, go ahead.
Tidbit. If you guys haven't heard of this, we've all talked about the Nord Stream pipeline as the biggest environmental disaster in history. There are people already saying if we bomb the nuclear facilities, the nuclear energy facilities in Iran, it's going to release radiation and other chemicals into the Gulf that will contaminate Dubai, contaminate Saudi Arabia, contaminate all of the big super cities that exist.
So win-win is what you're
So that's
saying.
what's on the line.
You know what? It's a bad idea all around. By the way, they're not making nuclear weapons, Iran, just so everybody knows. You know what they did instead of that? This is actually pretty smart. They developed their drones to be better than ours. And also, they have hypersonic missiles. You ever hear those? We don't have them. Did you know that?
I mean, that is crazy that America is actually behind
So
Iran
much like our
on-
healthcare and our education,
Yeah.
our military, we pay the most money to get the worst outcome. We pay more to have less good missiles that they didn't make nukes. They made missiles you can actually use called hypersonic missiles that go right through the Iron Dome. We don't have Russia has them, China has them, and Iran has them.
Who makes them?
War, they're going to share them all with people that don't like us.
Yeah.
And I don't know why people aren't aware of this. I guess because the state of North Korean propaganda that we live in. But we cannot win a war against any of these countries, even without those missiles. And my evidence is we haven't won a war in 80 fucking years.
Fair enough. That is a good point. Anything else, our caller?
Nope. Big fan of both you guys.
Thanks,
a lot.
man. Appreciate you calling in. Yeah, that is lost on a lot of people when, especially the Warhawks, when you're like, America really has not won a war. They've lost
How do you
every
get
war.
geared up again after the last disaster?
They're all
They're one-
disasters.
I keep joking. I always say that I ask who's in their 20s in the audience, and I tell them we're bringing back the draft, and they're going, and they're not
Yeah.
getting their way out of it neither.
Have you ever seen that video? I've referenced this before, but have you ever seen the video of the Vietnam draft that they did it on live TV in like the 60s? They used to draft people. It literally was like a game show.
Oh, like Powerball? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like Powerball, and they picked your birthday, and if your birthday was the first day of like, they just said like they had 365 days of the year, and if your day was
No one
like,
has any concept of what that was like, and that's why the CIA had to make the hippie movement into smelly, dirty. Well, the people that didn't want to have war used to
Yeah.
wear suits, and then we got LSD and the hippie shit that was all the sons and daughters of military people,
Yeah.
psyops people. Jim Morrison from The Doors, his dad is the one that helped cause the false flag that made us go in Vietnam. If you go back in our history, there's a guy named Steve Clausen. We played a video on Jimmy. It's an old speech, and he's giving a speech. It looks like it's early to. How do we get to war in Iran? And then how do we get to? You
Get
understand?
to. Yeah. That's the desired
The goal.
outcome. Yeah.
Okay, this has been the goal for 20 years. Wesley Clark gave a whole speech about the whole goal. It's come. He's not a prophet. They had a plan. How do we get to? And then he lists all the wars we were in, and going back to the Civil War, dude. Going back to the Civil War, and I think one war before it, Steve Clausen. If you look up the video, whoever's watching, we have false flag. Every war we've done has had a false flag attack.
Oh.
Every single one.
Seems like the
except
easiest way to get
9/11,
to
of
the.
course. The only non-false flag was 9/11, but Vietnam false flag. World War I false flag.
Yeah.
World War II, they allowed Japan to blow up Pearl Harbor. They let it happen on purpose to get us in the war. He named all of them. I'm like, what in the hell? It was so crazy to hear him saying this shit. A guy in a C-SPAN environment. It's the thing you're not supposed to watch because you're just a normal person who would watch this shit.
Right.
But the video is there. And to hear a guy say that, I was like, wow, I can't believe 9/11 is the only non-false flag in our history.
Amazing.
It's that one.
Just the one. All right.
Yeah,
So
that one don't have no questions about it.
0 questions. How did that passport remain totally intact? Let's take a call
Their
here.
passport. Luckily, all of them forgot their passports, so the authorities could find them.
Just untouched. Okay, we got a call from Josh. Calling from who knows where. He's not picking up. Guys, promptly unmute yourselves. Oh, here we go. Josh, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Are you
How's
there?
it going?
How you doing?
You are on with Kurt. Go ahead.
Hey, I love you, Kurt. You're the best.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, I was just under Kurt's advice, watched the J.R. Swede interviews.
Oh, goddamn, dude. How was that?
Oh, my God. Insane.
Who's J.R. Swede, for those who don't know?
His book sent to me. Emma from Imagination Podcast is sending me copies of his book. But, if you want to know what's inside of Mount Shasta, go on Mormon.
I live
Mama.
right by there, too. I live by Mount
Oh.
Shasta.
You do?
But, yeah, I live in Southern Oregon. It's
Okay.
not far. But, yeah, I just don't think anything will change until his stories get out. And
Who is this guy?
Celebrity
Sorry, can you just
and a
tell us?
celebrity will corroborate it, like the Hilton girls.
Can you tell us who he is?
J.R. Swede was this well-to-do Mormon family kid from Idaho who got picked for MK Monarch, the CIA, to be a CIA kid, they would call him, or a chosen one.
Sure.
These came from good families to be put through MK programming in the worst possible way. And he was a slave of Robert Byrd, among other people. The senator, remember the Klan senator?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
The one that Obama and Hillary and everybody went to his funeral and said nice things about, but he's a Klansman?
Right.
Well, he's way worse than a Klansman. He's a piece of shit.
Clip
so
that.
Gerald
He was
Ford.
also picked by Cheney.
That's a great quote right there.
Wait, say that again?
He was picked by Dick Cheney to have Pentagon clearance.
Robert Byrd was?
No, that J.R. Swede.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, Dick Cheney, if you guys read Kathy O'Brien's book, like I said to read, he has an abnormally large dick. And he makes corny jokes.
That explains some things, to be honest.
It does. It's so big it makes his mouth droop on by that one side. No, he's a real garbage. See, look, I don't want to be too hard on Israel because the reason that they treat America like that is because we're run by the lowest pieces of satanic Nazi shit that ever lived. I'm not talking about Trump. I'm talking about all the motherfuckers before him.
Nothing will change.
So we
Until
save
that story
Nazis
gets
after.
out.
Sorry, say that again. My bad. So what?
I said nothing will change until that guy's story gets out.
Dude, I said it on Rogan. I look, I didn't want to say I have hope for it, but I'm like, all this disclosure is going to happen, right? No. But here's the good news. It already fucking happened 30 years ago. Almost everything. The spaceship men and everything. You can find the information. It's all been leaked. You literally have to just not trust the people that are the official story and just look at everybody's story. And you tell me what makes sense to you. Now, some people are dumb, are going to pick the whatever, but I'm telling you the information. It's like picking peanuts out of shit. And you can do that.
Can you get him on
do.
Jimmy's show? You think you can get that guy on Jimmy's show?
Maybe, but Jimmy doesn't go. Look, Jimmy will like. We had one segment we did one time because Colonel McGregor was it was him and Kathy O'Brien at some summit, And Colonel McGregor, who's always reliable, always. So Jimmy, I go far out with what I say is going on, and Jimmy don't go there with me because I don't know if he could like handle integrating that into his reality, the shit that you read on J.R. Sweet's thing, you know? But McGregor was talking about how they had kids programmed under Disneyland in L.A. for the thing. That's what happened to J.R. Sweet. They would take him.
Under Disneyland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
and
he
they'd
would
take
get
him.
fucking sued. He would get sued by like Disney, every celebrity, if it wasn't true. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, not necessarily, but let me tell you why I know it's true.
Out of him.
When Kathy O'Brien testified about Monarch to Congress in the 90s, I was a kid. I saw it in the Wall Street Journal. I remember I was going to school and I read this thing. This woman claimed to have been a sex slave of Poppy Bush and Reagan and Cheney and all them. And they did mind control MK Ultra. I didn't know what that was at the time because I was young. And it sounded insane. But this is a woman, it's not some Me Too bullshit. It's a woman testifying in front of fucking Congress who then classified the testimony for national security reasons. And her book, Transformation of America, is her testimony. So the fact that they did that means she's telling the truth automatically to me. I don't know what more you need. Okay, this isn't, again, some hearsay online. This is sitting in front of Congress they didn't classify the January 6th shit, did they? I mean, it wasn't even a real thing, but this one, I know they're hiding something. And now you can see it. When people go, is Taylor Swift maybe a psyop? That's my favorite, like, asshole, all the things you like of that. Do you like baseball? Fuckface?
Baseball's a psyop.
Do you like hip hop or country? That's all a psyop. The whole thing is. The whole thing is. All of it.
Insane.
So it's not like
people talk about like parties, like that's going to change. This is the shit that rules the world. You know?
And that's why Bill Burr, my friend who I like, is kind of retarded to bring up, oh, did Ian do it? Did Elon secretly sig heil? Like, that's just such a most dumb sports brain take.
Right.
No idea about anything. But I don't want to single him out because Bill's better than most on knowing a lot of stuff. But this is how retarded America is. And it's in Kathy O'Brien's book, Transformation of America, spelled like trance with a C. I can already tell she's telling the truth because what she said in that book from 30 years ago has come to pass. It has happened. Yeah. What everybody's worried about with brain chips, they done did it. They did. They don't need to put a chip in. They don't need to. It's done.
Yeah. Social media and drugs, like pharmaceuticals. And it's done by that now.
Yeah. I mean, social media for sure.
We should probably have explained what was going on to Danny too, but I got.
It's fine. I think I got the gist of it. Interesting. Anything else there, Josh?
Yeah, just love you both. Kurt's the best. I love Kurt.
Kurt is the man.
Thank you, sir.
Love you guys.
I'm honored to have him on. All right, thanks, Josh. All right, let's take a call. We got Carl from where? I don't know, but we'll get him on.
Hello.
Carl, are you there?
Yo.
What's up, man?
How the hell are we doing, brother, dude? Thank you for being a true trailblazer, truly. I saw you on the page recently, and I saw you've been doing the rounds. I'm like, you truly been doing the stuff. I just want to make it super quick. So the Aleister Crowley stuff, where the boomers were infested with these ancient tribal beats that date back to, where do you think they could date back to the furthest? And do you think it?
Wait. Will you tell me? Okay, wait. Ancient tribal what?
Ancient tribal beads.
Aleister Crowley
beats.
Yeah, Aleister Crowley Aleister Crowley, all of hip hop worships. He has a quote where he says, "It's we wish to take them from their comfort," and it's something. So it's very anti-Christian, and all these hip hop artists. And even like country artists, really any rock.
They got country first. Yo, everybody goes, I don't like country, but I like old country. Everyone says it.
Yeah.
If you don't like country, they go, but I like some old country.
Yeah,
Why?
they didn't like the pickup truck beer country.
They like the mind control country. Garth Brooks mind control. That's what's funny about Segura calling him a serial killer. He probably is, motherfucker. He probably is. They got country first before they ever got to hip hop. Way before. Okay?
Way before. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. J.R. Sweet talks about Charlie Pride. That motherfucker likes to cut off people's hands. Anyway,
my bad.
Aleister
Super
Crowley
quick.
shit.
Like,
People think that UFOs is because him, L. Ron Hubbard and the other guy touched dicks in the desert.
Well, that's the thing. Scientology. Here's another one. Scientology connected to Aleister Crowley. L. Ron Hubbard obviously created Scientology, but also Aleister Crowley was connected to Scientology, and also Edward Bernays, and also Charles Darwin, and also Edward Bernays, his great nephew, created Netflix. Like, you know that.
Really? No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Bernays is related to Freud, right? Or am I wrong?
Freud. Yep, they're actually.
Yeah. So
this
Freud's
is very
entire.
disgusting. I actually just learned this briefly. Yeah. This is going to be wild, but Edward Bernays is a double. He's like two uncles, so like incest on both sides. Edward Bernays and Sigmund Freud.
Mm-hmm.
Like they.
Yeah, well, that's to be expected. Freud, his entire psychological thing was to gaslight rich Austrian women into believing it's their fault that their dads would force themselves on them. Because for some reason, and I don't know what that reason is, the bottom of society and the top of society both go through the same horrific shit. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So
but
like top
and bottom, it's like Precious,
so
but there's like a rich version. I don't know. As above, so below, I guess. But all that magic bullshit, I don't believe that caused any. I hate that stupid thing they say of like, we started seeing UFOs because Crowley did the ritual. You don't think the nuclear bombs we dropped might have caused that way more than guys rubbing their dicks in the desert? You don't think
it's pretty powerful to rub your dicks in the desert?
Atoms might have done it? If that's anything.
I mean, yeah, that's like Danny did. Danny just pulled up a great point. Rubbing your dicks in the desert, you and another man. I mean, that probably has a lot of
powerful stuff.
It's alchemy. It's all, dude.
It's gay alchemy.
Dude, I hate magic. I hate it. It's so gay.
Really
I don't mean that to
powerful.
mean lame.
Yeah.
I don't mean it to mean lame, but it is also lame. It's gay and lame.
Yeah.
We're gay, like literally you have to do gay shit. Yeah, it's
but
goofing
listen to that.
without coming is the goal.
I've been doing some. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. All right, so I don't want to cut you off like too much, but like, I'll make it super. Hans, I've been doing some deep research. Last time I called in, Richard Grove was on. And we're talking about
that's my rabbi, Richard Grove.
Yeah, Richard's the man.
Yeah, so the music and mind control stuff that he did research on. Well, he did research with Jan Irvin way back in like 2011. And I think your viewers should watch that. If you want to get to the grit
Grand
of,
Theft World podcast, Richard Grove.
Yeah, he was on like
he has a map of the whole thing.
Yeah, he was on like 3 weeks ago or something.
Also unauthorized.tv, I think, is where, or uncensored.tv is where you can get like Richard Grove's like old stuff. Because one of the guys that he used to do podcasts with got kicked off Joe Rogan's podcast because he was uncovering some stuff about the CIA.
What do you mean he got kicked off Joe Rogan's podcast?
Yeah, hold on. Elaborate on that a little bit. What do you mean he got kicked off Rogan?
Like in the middle of a podcast?
No. Like Jan Irvin was working with Joe Rogan in the early 2000s, and then he did stuff with Richard Grove later on. But Jan Irvin got kicked out of academia because he was doing these elaborate essays, this deep research.
Not kicked out of knowing Rogan. I thought like you're like okay. I didn't understand you.
No.
Yeah, he didn't get excommunicated from.
Yeah. So he got excommunicated from the media space. And I'm not calling Rogan. I'm not calling Rogan CIA or anything. I'm just saying that if you go back, you can actually look at.
Well, wouldn't that be a wrinkle in things?
Yo, dude, like Rogan gets invited to go speak at J.P. Morgan Chase events in New York.
Oh, I bet he turns down crazy checks too.
Yeah, because why would they be inviting him to that?
Yeah, he's getting like.
Unless there's no good reason they would ask him to come do that. It's the same reason why would they ask Hillary or Obama to come speak at Goldman Sachs?
Yeah,
and they get paid $250,000 for that gig. Who would watch them just yapping for $250,000? No one. Those are bribes, or luring you in to drug you up and get you in some kind of situation.
Right.
That's how it works.
All right, Carl. I gotta let you go. Thanks, man. Carl, everybody. We have a question from our producer, Mark wanted to ask you something. Let me just unmute him here quickly because he had a question for you. Mark, are you there?
Yo.
What's up?
What's up? I was just up in New Hampshire on the point of Crowley, and the guy who runs the inn that I was staying at happened to fill us in because we drove by where Betty and Barney Hill were abducted.
Oh, yeah?
The first abduction.
That was there? I didn't
in
know
New
that.
Hampshire. Yep. Really weird on a really kind of foggy mountain road, which just kind of popped out of nowhere. But we went back to the inn and told him about it. And he's like, oh, Aleister Crowley stayed out in this part of the country when he was here doing some kind of ritual. And what that comes to mind for me is not necessarily like, oh, he summoned the aliens or whatnot. But I think, with his occult prowess, he was kind of setting the stage for the propaganda that we get now about the military and aliens. But that's not my question, just a comment on
It's interesting.
Talking about. My question is, what do you think about the homunculus and that shit I was telling you about? Because I
haven't finished watching it, though, but I watch that channel. I've seen. I say it's a kid, but I don't know. It's probably an adult. He just has a young voice. But
what's interesting is that whole channel got really popular along with the whole Tartaria.
Oh, Retardia?
So yeah, I wanted to ask you what you think of that.
Retardia is really retarded.
Really connected to all the shit that's been going on in the 8 years.
Okay, well, everybody has different programs. So I think Flat Earth, for example, Retardia, or I call it that because I can't believe how stupid it is. That's now I assume because Flat Earth, I believe, and I'm just spitballing, but I think that's some kind of Jesuit psyop to create a balance to super rational secularism. So the idea is you counterweight the Neil deGrasse Tysonism by putting something so opposite that people will stick to and believe emotion. Because the stakes of a flat earth are nothing. The idea that you would hide that, and no one's ever given me a good explanation of why that would be a thing to hide. What do you get out of that?
They're just protecting their valuable resources.
The only one that I've heard that made any sense, at least in the past, was that the Vatican promoted the idea so that people wouldn't sail through the Atlantic to the New World. They were keeping the New World a secret for as long as they could. So they promoted the idea that you would just sail off the edge of the earth if you.
They might have. Hey, look, maybe they did, and they're promoting it again. I don't fucking know, but it gets real elaborate, and then it'll get to be where there is no such thing as outer space. I mean, space. We live in space, even on Earth. It's just a dimension of where you move in, but. You ever see a thing where they think the ocean is like that Japanese anime world where it's like one unknown continent still, and there's like an ice wall, and beyond the ice wall there's all these islands, and the islands have names like planets, and I'm like, you understand this is not really different than saying space.
Sure, it's just a version,
political overlay of the thing we already think, but I don't understand to what end. Tartaria, which is, I watch these stupid fucking TikToks of people who had no idea. They're like, look at all these amazing things they used to make. They don't want you to know. Yes, I know brutalism is not good architecture. Anybody who knows about architecture will tell you that's Art Deco and not a. It's mostly like Art Deco shit they're pointing at, but that's just the Atlantis story. That some Russian that comes out of Russia. Talk about propaganda from Russia. That one is. I think so, because the guy who first put that out, and it's the same as Germany putting out their fucking Antarctica or whatever the fuck they used to say. Those weird mythology. Oh, the Mormons. That's a metaphorical overlay of Atlantis as well. It's a lot of these things are just started by these secret, Freemasons and Rosicrucians, all those secret groups. That's proto-intelligence agencies. You understand? The secret handshakes and the signs. That's how we got the idea of modern intel, from those secret groups. They developed it. The occult, the dark arts, that's spycraft and shit. John Dee, who worked for Queen Elizabeth, who signed all his letters 007, that's why James Bond's called 007, was a wizard, and he did intelligence work, because most of it is spycraft. Most of it is deception. Okay? That's what the arts are. They believe all is mind. The whole universe is mind, right? You ever hear that? Hermetic shit? No. Everything is consciousness. The whole universe
yeah,
is
yeah,
conscious.
I've heard that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, there's another saying, all is mind. It means the same thing. So if all is mind and I can control your mind, then that makes me God. So that's the idea. So if I can program your brain, and this goes back to ancient Egypt and probably way before that. I don't know who taught these priests how to do this, but they know how to program you subconsciously. That's what the secret knowledge that they carried back from the Templars and all that shit. Mind control. The Dalai Lama, you know what the Dalai Lama is? He's a kid who got brainwashed at the age of 4 when they want to put kids in pre-K here. It's a real Prussian concept because you take away from the mom, their kids are in a hypnagogic state. They're supposed to be with mommy and daddy to 5 or 6, okay? But a child in that state, that's directly, we got to get in there and program their brain and get our foot in because that's the vital years. So the Dalai Lama, the priests go find a kid. They follow his genetic line, his lineage, right? They give him the toys. Which one? Because you're the soul of our dead leader is in you. He reincarnates. They've had the same leader for 1,000 years, the same president for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
But China's bad, but they're good. Okay. They kidnap a kid and they erase his brain because he's not there anyway. He's a 4-year-old, and they repattern him to be the guy like the Dalai Lama, and they don't even wait till the Dalai Lama is dead to do it. That's where you get like bilocation bullshit. Oh, his soul's in you too. And that's how they keep their bullshit going. Why do you think the Nazis and the CIA love Tibetan Buddhism so fucking much? Because of that. It's how you brainwash people. The reason we have school at all, Richard Grove will tell you, I learned this from Rabbi Grove. The fucking Prussian school, they found 70% of soldiers were purposely missing their shots. And they go, we've got to train them to be killers from a younger age. And that's where we got kindergarten. You know that German word?
Yeah.
That gets inflicted on you at 5?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I only went to kindergarten, okay? And I already knew how to read and shit, but you're impressionable. Remember when I started in New York, especially pre-K? Oh, I got to be in pre-K. Statistics show kids have better outcomes if they're put in pre-K. What? Why? Oh, because they're conditioned earlier to be.
Sure.
That's 1984 shit. That's our whole schooling.
I mean, it literally primes you to be like
destroyed 100%.
Have a
100%.
9-to-5 job, essentially.
What?
I said school basically primes you to just like join the rat race and have like
right. It was originally
a 9-to-5 job.
Yes, and they said it explicitly. We don't want doctors and this and that. You're peasants. What we want is more people in a factory. And so they condition you with bells and all that bullshit like you're in a prison or a factory. And that's what they did. And it has always been under the control of some psychopath oligarch, all education. Bill Gates and Common Core is not new. Rockefeller did it first. Carnegie and all them.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers from the Serpent race, that's not my word. They call it that, the Serpent. I don't know what the fuck that means.
Yeah. Weird term.
Serpent versus eagle is the imagery. I like to call it pervert versus fascist. That's the eternal struggle of history of the perverts fighting the fascists. It's correctly summed up in Animal House, I think, really sums up our whole deep
pervert
state.
versus fascist is pretty well said.
There's a lot of revolving door action too, like big pharma regulator, And so Egypt, the priest class, they're all corrupt. They would inbreed these royals like dogs and tell them they're God. They inbreed them and tell them they're God, right? And they tie up their whole day with preparing for the afterlife. And so they create a society of OCD in Egypt. People go, oh, they were more spiritual. No, they were more easily brainwashed. That's how you build big monuments. You mesmerize a population to do the thing you want. That's the big magnificence of Egypt, is they had such mind control over the people that they could make these monuments. That's the big secret that everybody wants. Human nature, here's the secret of human nature. Programmability, not good or evil. Programmability. Yeah. That's what the Church of Satan teaches secretly to their priests. Mark Passio, who was a priest that LaVey appointed, he'll tell you, he's got great lectures. Look up Mark Passio, and he shows you how baseball's a fucking sigil thing. Everything that you think is normal is some kind of industrialized, occultist, subconscious programming. And that's all that the shit is.
Yeah.
It's so Bernays, that the other dude mentioned, it called, that's magic. The shit they call PR and whatever, that's what magic is. Did you know that?
No.
That's what it is. Advertised marketing.
Kind of, yeah. It's just mind control.
That's what it is. And so like a low magic ritual is like that kind of shit. But a high magic ritual is when you get an entire country on board for something crazy and wrong, like Iraq.
Iraq. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. All right, let's take another call here. One sec, please. We got Rick on the line here. Rick, are you there?
Yes.
Rick, what's up, man?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, man. Big fan of you both.
Nice. What's up?
I got a question for Kurt.
Go ahead.
Have you noticed that there's like similarities between sort of different kinds of repressed memories that people have, like SRA or alien abduction?
Yeah, dude.
Do you think that
Yes. Well, weird overlap,
do you
ain't there?
think that that's... Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Betty
do you
and
think
Barney
that's,
Hill, what I think, Betty and Barney Hill, those were not aliens. That was some kind of op because they were interracial. And as you know, at that time, we had brought all these Nazis here who may or may not have had the secrets of how to make a UFO and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
And they were occultists and all that. So we don't even need Crowley for that. That was probably an op. That guy Stephen Greer, who is questionable, I think he says more true things than the other people you'll see talking about this.
Oh, I got kind of a crazy opinion on Greer, which is that he's not working for the intel agencies. He's working for whatever the entities are.
He's working for what?
Whatever the entities are?
He's working for whatever like the aliens are, really.
Oh, I think he must.
I think that's why he's slowly looking more and more like one too.
That could be TRT.
That could be.
Okay, so I was trying to figure out, the thing I don't get is like, why does he know all this? Why is he so protected? He was an ER doctor, so he must come from a good family. Right. And if I ever met him, I would ask him, are you like a Rosicrucian or something? He's probably in some secret society. That's why he would have these connections.
He was doing meditation seminars like in the 70s. I think he's into transcendental meditation.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, and that Sai Baba TM thing, that guy's real culty himself. And I don't know so much about TM other than the kind of, there's a lot of questions around it, but
it's very culty, that's for sure.
It seems like there's a lot of intel around it to me. Kinda.
Well, I don't want to blank my mind out and leave my body. You know this thing where what I would mistrust, I would never do CE5 because that sounds like a fucking Ouija board to me. I don't really understand it. You get together a bunch of people and focus with this app, which is creepy as shit that it's an app, and then what, you see some lights? I don't understand the purpose of that. What is the purpose of that?
It's very similar to that, I'm sorry, I'm blanking his last name, Chris something.
Bledsoe, okay. So,
Chris Bledsoe, yeah, he's been on the show.
Chris Bledsoe, yes. Exactly.
You know that dude Tony Merkel that has, I can't remember his podcast name, but I talk to him from time to time.
Yeah.
Chris Bledsoe, he doesn't say, because so my girlfriend's mom had the book UFO of God with a picture of like the Virgin Mary or something on it, or I don't remember, maybe it's Jesus.
The one his dad wrote?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it in the next room over.
Yeah, that being he's talking to told him she's Hathor, the Egyptian goddess. So as soon as you say Hathor,
the white lady.
Yes, Hathor, the Egyptian god. I don't think that's good, and I don't like Egypt. How people like I hate pyramids. Number one, I think that's a symbol. I think it's the intergalactic symbol of slavery, is what I think it is. That's why they love it so much. It's our national scheme, is the pyramid. The top down following
our
orders.
National scheme.
Yeah, it's on the dollar. It's on the fucking dollar.
Yeah.
A pyramid. But why they call it that? Because it's the most stable scheme you can do, I guess.
I guess.
And that's
time tested.
Yeah. So yeah, I find that real questionable too. Here's what I think at the end of the day, because you see these two narratives, right? It's Nephilim posing as aliens, and it's aliens. It's the Bible demons. No, it's aliens. All this shit comes off to me like a focus group when I used to write for shit. Like God got sick of us.
Some people want the religious explanation, and some people want the sciencey.
Like how George Lucas God sold us to Disney reality, and they're now marketing what ending you like better is how it comes off to me. And that overlap with this SR8 and I make a joke about it because the alien stuff, they kidnap you, they sexually assault you, right? They call it probing, but you wouldn't call it a probing if Puerto Ricans did it, would you?
Just call that a good time.
Yeah, then they tell you don't pollute, right? Or they go, hey, the environment, nuclear weapons are bad. And you're like, oh, thanks for kidnapping me and violating me sexually and telling me nukes are bad. Why would you pick me? And when we have a president who you can thumb his asshole and tell him that because he controls that. Dickhead, Greta Thunberg aliens. Why would you do that? Then they make you forget, by the way. So you have to spend out of pocket for hypnosis to remember their message of environmentalism. And then the SRA stuff, same thing. Some horrible experiences, some sexual assault, followed by erased memory. What the hell's going on?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
Do you think that's
I
just
really
the
don't.
government, like, sticking memories in their head when they're done doing whatever they do to them to make them be able to dissociate and stuff, to be like...
Kathy O'Brien said they
subject.
had shit that could. Bush had a thing. They had because their technology, just our government, not the shadow government above America, our government. Their tech is like 60 years ahead of us at all times. But you know that. That's they had laptops in the 70s, but they're very expensive. So by the time you get it, it's cheap to produce. That's not far out. That's just what it is.
Right.
But they had shit that they could make themselves look like lizard people. He had a hologram thing set up that he could click and have a lizard form, and it was fake because they had done research that people have a primal fear of lizards and shit. That's what that is. Now, I don't know if there was real reptilians teaching them that, but that was and they were talking about that in the 90s. So, yeah, and Kathy O'Brien, when she's getting brainwashed, she'll go, we came from another dimension. Madeleine Albright was in on it. Dude, the people in on it, it's frightening. And it's all to
like
have
who
a
I would
one
think.
world government. What do you think the rules-based order is? That's the New World Order. The thing that Poppy Bush would talk about that I used to not pay attention to, but now that I think about it, it's kind of fucking weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
All these countries.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you make of with this one world government? Because I was actually thinking about this because obviously Trump has some little imperialistic plans at the moment. Do you think there's any chance?
That's the fight. Ukraine is a metaphor for globalism working out. That's why it's so important to these cunts, is because the one world order that they've been working at, that they did all these evil crimes and traffic children. And I have no idea how Israel fits into it. I'll tell you, actually I had a friend text me this, so I'll tell you, there's someone with firsthand knowledge of it. And I'm going to tell you, and I still, okay.
Yeah.
Here, because I was asking, because you don't, like I said, I don't think Israel's the end all be all of bad, and I'm not anti-Semitic. By the way, Arabs are Semitic, just so everybody knows. That counts for Arabs too, the word. It's not genetic, it's a language grouping.
Sure.
Wait. I'll tell you the thing. Okay. I was asking how it ties in, MK. It ties in because mind control is a driving factor, motivation with all of it. Epstein was procuring the slaves used for the blackmail operations. They would use programmed children to honeypot / blackmail. Wait. The MK children get left out of this story. It's not adults blackmailing these people. It's the children. U.S. children were being used by foreign criminal networks to blackmail American dignitaries. But Monarch isn't totally directly related. Epstein had a network of American MK assets that were for hire by Mossad, etc. It puts the U.S. in sort of a double bind and forces them to bow to Israel. But it's sort of a side note to the big picture. Israel is not overseeing U.S. MK Ultra. It more so gained access to it through people like Epstein, who use it as an additional way to gain leverage. So I got told this by Nathan Reynolds too. This is proprietary technology. So state actors, corporations, they all have their own form of it that they use, and they groom these kids from birth. So here's a good example. Susan Wojcicki from YouTube, who died of turbo cancer recently, because apparently she took the real COVID shot. Who knew? She's the one from the Stanford marshmallow experiment that won the experiment.
Really?
You're the kids with the marshmallows?
With like the delayed gratification stuff?
Yeah, so that's the bullshit they tell you, that they had better outcomes because it shows they could delay gratification. It don't show that. It shows obedience.
Right.
That's what it shows. What if I already got molested as a young kid by my satanic parents and I'm in that experiment and I don't trust you there's going to be more marshmallows? I should eat it now, shouldn't I? That has nothing to do with fucking delayed.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, it was agreeableness, obedience.
Agreeableness,
Fucking
yeah. Obedience.
And
yeah.
that's what she was. And her psychopath mother wrote a book. Oh, her sister ran 23andMe and is an Epstein pal.
Yeah.
Her mother wrote a book about raising 2 successful kids. How you do it? I bet she left out the SRA though.
Right. All right, Rick, I gotta let you go. Thanks, man. Rick, everybody. I got some questions from the chat here. We have one from Nito. It says, Kurt, can you expound on what you think is going on in Mount Shasta? A lot of weird stuff up there.
Yo, JR Sweet, MormonMonarch.org. the thing that's in there that he saw, it wasn't the Lemurians.
Interesting. And then
Chinese guys eating babies in there. I'm not making that up.
Really? Okay.
Well, I'm not, dude. I'm not getting the whole story. Go look at his story.
Yeah.
It's such
J.R.
a bizarre
Swede
thing that he described, and it was some ritual that he was. And dude, it's fucking. And by the way, there's a lot of Chinese immigrants in northwestern California. So there's this Asian black magic called Gu.
Okay.
Gu. Chinese
Gu.
black magic. You put a scorpion. Now, this isn't related to the Shasta thing. It's just a thing that one of these practices. You put like centipedes and snakes and whatever and shit in a bowl, and they kill each other. You seal it, and then you open it up after some amount of time, and whichever the last one alive is, you eat that one, and you get their power.
You get the power. All right.
These people will eat anything.
I know. It's like Fear Factor every day over there. Question from Gib Gladley says, Curtis Yarvin met you at Mothership, said he had fun talking. Do you have
fun talking to him, yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on his deep right and monarchist positions or other work?
Yeah, don't worry. He's not in charge of shit. These nerds are not in charge. Is that what people think? That Curtis Yarvin is controlling J.D. Vance and all that? I met him. He's not.
Yeah.
The thing about monarchism, we have that currently, everyone. We have that right now.
Sure.
Why do you think that there's 7 generations of people in the same political families? That's called a monarchy, okay? So either shit or get off the pot, I say, okay? Now, here's the thing that he came up with that when I first heard this, I was told it was anti-Semitic. He called it the cathedral, the deep state basically, which is Intel and all the institutions. He called it the cathedral, and back in the day, that was an anti-Semitic. How is that anti-Semitic?
Yeah,
it's not called.
Jews don't have cathedrals.
That's right. It's because, and he's hitting on a very good point with that. I don't know, endorse all whatever shit. When I talk to him, all nerds have this thing of eugenic, like, the stupid people can be cattle and whatever. And I had a whiff of that talking to him, but that you get the same whiff talking to a bunch of comedians.
Oh, yeah. Super liberal comedians definitely have that.
So I wouldn't judge anything that an autistic guy says too hard, other than the cathedral thing is very apt. And my friend Aaron Lobbyist, he goes, yeah, I call it Vaticanization. So all like lobbying, everyone is supposed to be able to lobby. It's not supposed to be just lobbying firms. He explained, this guy came on my show and explained how lobbying worked, and I understood it. What they're doing is taking things where you're supposed to participate and turning them into Latin mass that you can't understand. They're Vaticanizing it. And then they're the middleman forever. And then you're not supposed to do your own research. You're supposed to vote for personalities. So like AOC and whatever. These are all frauds, these people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But look, all you got to do, it's so easy. You judge by what they do. You have to be honest and look at what they do and try to find out whether I like them or not. I remember 2020 election. Who do you like? I like them all. I bet they're nice. Who the fuck cares who I like?
Yeah.
Who cares? I'm not a little girl. What did they do? And so far, they all do the same shit. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
So you're going to be trapped in the wheel of Samsara forever with this bullshit 2 parties. Now, Canada, just having more parties don't fix the problem, because look at Canada.
Right.
Right.
I mean, there's essentially only 3 parties, and 2 of them one's just a further left version of the one, and then there's just a conservative party, basically.
It's all nonsense. Oh, and Pierre Trudeau, he was a piece of shit. I don't know if he's Justin Trudeau's dad or not.
He's not.
Pierre Trudeau.
I mean, he raised them.
He pees on kids, or he did.
For whatever that's worth. All right, let's take another call here. Let's go to Frank. Frank, are you there? Oh, did we lose him? Oh, here we go. Frank, you there?
This is Nick.
Oh, Nick. How's it going, man?
Good. I wanted to call in when a guest wasn't here, but I thought Kurt might have some funny opinion on the previous caller talked about gematria and how Trump was not going to win this election, and Kamala was, because the numbers didn't work out. I want to know what Kurt's opinion on gematria is.
What happened to the numbers?
How's gematria relate to that?
Yeah, I have the same question.
No, it was like at the end of last year. I forget. He was saying like the numbers I don't even remember.
Wait, who was? Who was?
This was a previous show. Sorry.
Yeah,
oh, a guest that Danny.
I guess it was on the show.
Someone had mentioned how like the numbers
I
were
remember that,
playing
Connor.
out.
You had that number numerology guy, didn't you?
No, I've tried to get that guy, Zach, I think his name is. He's like the main Gematria guy. I've had one guest who always calls in about Gematria, but the funny thing is it's always like you can only know, like it's not predictive in any way. It's always just like, hey, this thing happened, and they go
like not knowing math, but like
but
just
it's
saying
never
numbers.
like tell me the fucking score and like the hockey game like before it happens, and I'll be like, wow, this shit's.
Dyscalculia or whatever, the dyslexia of math, like I can't do math. So I've never, whenever people are into that, I'm just like bored immediately.
Right. Well, it's just like it's never
like homework.
They act like it's predictive, but then they're always like, see, this thing happened and look, these numbers and blah, blah, blah. You're like, okay, well, tell me what's going to happen.
All that
then.
stuff is leftover slave programming going back when they invented it. It's like, just like astrology is like predictive programming, supposedly, okay, yeah, you can't be affected by the stars, but why not? Because chaos theory, right? The butterfly flapped his wings and a dinosaur, blah blah, Jurassic Park. Remember that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so if a butterfly flapping its wings could create a cause and effect storm like that, why the hell couldn't a star having a solar flare somewhere cause a chain of events? So I don't see why it's impossible, but I wouldn't live my life according to it because I think it's some kind of. I agree with that Jazz Jabroni guy, Jason Giorgiani. It's some leftover slave program from back in the day, and it's a thing to let everybody know their place and where they're supposed to be, and that because sometimes it is accurate in certain ways, but I think that's what it is, like a predictive program.
It reminds me of that stupid Bible code. Remember that famous book from the 90s, The Bible Code? It was like some rabbi wrote it, and he's just like, yeah, look, I found all these like prophecies, and you're like, you're like, you took a text with 10 million letters. You're like, you can find anything.
Yeah, right. You can use letters to make any words.
Yeah, but you're like, yeah, you can find anything you're looking for with that many letters.
There is a thing called steganography, which is where you hide coded messages and stuff, and a lot of stuff is steganography. Dark Journalist channel, he goes into really interesting stuff with it. But I don't really understand Gematria or see the use of it. Even like, 666, the mark of the beast.
Yeah.
That's Gematria. That's what the fuck that is. 616 is the correct number, by the way. It wasn't 666.
Really?
Yeah. So it doesn't really matter, though, because all these people now in their conscious have 666. So now that's the number. And probably that's how it works. See, they got to just chain a bunch of consciousnesses together to project reality, because you're both a projector and an observer. So it's like a peer-to-peer server. If you play a role, like I have a PlayStation, right? And some games they cheap out, instead of a big server, they get peer-to-peer, where they use your machine to generate the game world, and it chained up with a bunch of machines. I think there's something like that going on with people. They got to chain a bunch of us together to project a certain reality. They do that through baseball games, large concert events, things that focus your attention, right? And then that can become reality. That's just me talking out of my ass with no Gematria. I'm not a scientist. So.
No, but that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, so also I had a fallback thing just because I thought you had a funny comment on that. But what's your thoughts on Harley Pasternak?
Oh, the guy.
You have any thoughts on that?
Okay, so that's
Kanye's trainer.
And who else? Was he Bieber as well?
Yeah, he's a bunch of famous people's trainers. And you know what's really funny?
He has a ton of people,
he
like
has
Brittany Murphy.
So he has, you can go find him, I think either on Instagram or TikTok. He has like a TikTok account or an Instagram account. I don't know if he still does, but he does like cooking videos, but then the comments are turned off. Like he has the comments totally on, like he's like, I'm making like cauliflower soup, and you're like, why are the comments turned off?
Yeah, because he's a handler. He's a fucking handler. I mean, it's not funny.
He was like Canadian intelligence or something.
There is no such thing.
He's like CIA, but Canadian.
Yeah, he's Canadian, but he lives in LA. He escaped earlier.
He works for the CIA. That guy. All these stars. What do you think it's a coincidence? They're all fucked up.
Yeah,
all of them. Like Britney Spears, J.R. Sweet tells what happened to her. She got programmed the hard way. Put it that way.
Sure.
I don't know about the clone shit they say, because if you dissociative identity disorder someone, which is what they would do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's a different person. Must be a clone. No, that's a mind controlled person. Is what it is. Again, mind control is not fanciful. It's just a normal thing that you've seen your whole life.
Right.
It's a normal thing. It's not. It's
like
mundane.
people are. It's a thing that everyone is essentially susceptible to. It's just the degree to which it's pushed on you.
If you become aware of it, you can become less susceptible by a lot, as a matter of fact. And people are becoming aware of it, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
It doesn't work forever.
I think that goes with like the chaining realities together, like you were mentioning too. I feel like.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's part of like the
they
cultural
go, a separate universe.
brainwashing.
Are there other dimensions? Yeah, their perception, like people are in their bubble. You hear that term?
Yeah.
Oh, he's in this bubble. That's a separate reality. That's what that is. It's completely dictated by consciousness. If I have Edward Bernays skills of programming, you got a mommy, left, right brain, mommy and daddy, and your subconscious is a kid. And then my goal as your controller is to get mommy and daddy out of the house and stick my dick in your subconscious. That's what that's what kindergarten's for. So most people live in a single parent skull where they're overly masculine or feminine, right? They never want you balanced.
Right.
They always want you to be overly into one or the other, but you're supposed to it's like 3D glasses, a red and a blue lens to form the image. You need both sides of your brain. It can't just be left brain shit, and it can't just be right brain new age horse shit. You need to combine it thoughtfully.
Yin and yang.
At it, and what'd you say?
Like a yin and yang kind of deal.
Yeah, right. And then, but the whole goal, so that way you're getting like the full 5D effect that you should be getting. Most people are not because I'm only a secular materialist. Well, you're using half your brain, genius.
Good point. Nick, I gotta let you go. Thanks, man. Nick, everybody, are you cool to hang out for 2 more calls? I know we're going a little longer than I said, but does that work for you?
I don't got no shows tonight.
Okay, cool. I mean, there's so many calls, but we got one of my favorite callers from. Come on, Chris, pick it up. He might be. Oh, there we go. Chris, are you there?
Nice. Howdy, Danny.
Good start.
Good evening.
Good
I am in fact here.
What's up, buddy?
Are you able to hear me, Danny?
Yeah, can hear you great. How are you?
Oh, that's fantastic news. You know what, Danny? I'm hanging in there. Truth be told, I'm not doing so hot, but I don't want to dwell on negative energy when I'm on a call with the legendary Kurt Metzger, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, how can you call this low-value males?
He's currently battling a pretty serious opioid addiction.
Oh, really? I did Kratom. That's how I did it.
Have you tried Kratom, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, you name it, I've tried it, Danny. What's crazy is this new product called, are you familiar? If you haven't heard of it, you're going to hear about it soon. It's called 7-0. Kratom's been in my tool belt for withdrawal strategies for years now, and it has limited, utility. It's fine, but like
you're gonna go through some pain. Yeah, I was on Suboxone.
Anyways, this new product is called 7-0, and there was Kratom extract previously. This is Kratom extract on steroids, and people talk about it like it's a legitimate oxy substitute. However, it's being sold at smoke shops across the country.
That's not good.
And when I say that, if you haven't heard of it, you're going to hear about it soon. It's because, without a doubt, no question, it's going to be one of these, just issues that gets a lot of attention, particularly in red states where, it's no joke. It's like an oxy substance.
Have you taken it?
I've tried it, and I mean, my opioid tolerance is fucking sky high, and even I was like, chilling, and had that warm blanket feeling for sure. However, so you hyped me up prior to me answering the phone call, and I'm not sure I'm a big fan of that, Danny. You make me have to live up to these high expectations, and
no expectations.
Chill, dog. Okay, right on. Well,
your voice sounds like shit right now, though.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I said your voice sounds really raspy.
I'm smoking fentanyl right now, Danny. It's not great, man.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you wanna rescind your comment there, Kurt?
Fentanyl's where I punched out because I I ran out of oxys and I couldn't get no more. And then I had someone give me a fentanyl patch. And I was like, I couldn't find any safe way to do it. Like, I was like, can I cut it? And I was like, so I had to like, I went to a doctor, I got on Suboxone. And then the withdrawals of Suboxone, I think, are worse than oxys. And I got down to this
Well, they last so long, the Suboxone withdrawals. I mean, you can't sleep for like a month and a half.
Dude, it was so bad. So now now kratom, I thought it was like bath salts. I didn't know what it was. And I was in so fucked. I'm like, all right, I'll just try it. I don't want to go through this Suboxone shit again. And it took the edge off so much. Like, you're still going through pain. I was taking the worst I did with those blues, the 30 milligram oxys, was 8 in a day, which is kind of a lot. I was at the point of like, you should switch to heroin or just stop. So I was like, I don't want to do it no more.
Right.
You know. And now, if you get heroin, I don't think you can. You got to only get fentanyl.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it. Yeah,
it was a long time ago, I guess.
A long time ago, but not that long ago. But yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Well, it's the fucking way she goes, and you know the fact is, I'm located in a part of the country in the American Southwest. I guess you'd call it that, in Dallas, Texas, where we are blessed in the fact that we are truly. The only part of the country where we can still consistently get a product called BTH, black tar heroin. This beautiful black goose that will completely fuck your life up and steal your soul, quite literally. What that means is, up there, I've just explained this phenomenon to Danny before, but up there in the Northeast, all the H is powder, or at least it used to be. And when it's powder, it's super easy to cut with fent, right? I mean, it's powder. Down here, it's like an actual tar. And it's a little bit more difficult to cut with fent and to conceal it, and to sell it off that way. Sometimes you'll get people, crystallizing Dr. Pepper in a microwave and passing that off as dope, but it's much more difficult to cut it with fent. And well, my illegal alien plugs are just so damn inconsistent that I'm dope sick as hell. And they're not like professional dealers. They use and they also sell. So when they tell you they're going to be 5 minutes, it means 6 hours. And I just can't put up with that. And so as a result, I've been sort of back into a corner where like I'm just speaking out to scary black people who only have fent. And fuck, man, it's not great, dude.
Damn, does not sound good.
Why don't you just do, what is that 7? I mean, I don't know if that's I don't know what that stuff is because
he says it's
extracts.
He says like an
kratom's
extract
just a leaf.
He says it's like a kratom extract essentially. It's
so
just like
I don't know if that's good or bad. Like it could be either.
It can't be worse than smoking fentanyl, surely.
But yes, that's what I'm getting at. Like I would just punch out, man, and fuck, because I did, and I mean, I still, like I said, I went through some pain for sure because I had taken, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years I was on that crap, oxy, and then, but it took the edge off so well, and I'll never, dude, I wouldn't touch a Vicodin ever again. I wouldn't touch none of that shit. The kratom I don't get high from. I take 4 of the capsules at a time, probably 4 times a day now. That's what I take.
Yeah.
And if I stop taking that, I'm going to not be able to sleep for sure. And I'll probably have some effect. It will be nothing like what Chris from D-Town is going to go through coming off of this. Nothing. And it's just way better. And people I know, I talked to about it and they used it to get off. Like I said, you sound like you got a massive habit. But I don't want to be on that shit ever again, dude. I don't envy that feeling.
It does not sound pleasant.
And quite frankly, Danny, when you called me, you asked me how I'm doing, and I answered your question honestly. But I wasn't trying to take it in a negative.
No, not at all. I was genuinely asking how you were doing.
Wait, why do you take it? Like, how did you get on it?
Same story as everybody. 83% of heroin users started by using prescription painkillers. And I had the same story. I played soccer in college. I tore my ACL. I got prescribed Dilaudid and off to the races. You know?
Oh, yeah, Dilaudid used to be the strong one, right? That's like the synthetic morphine.
Big time.
Yeah.
I already knew Oxycontin was heroin when I started taking it. I can't blame that family.
The Sacklers.
Yeah, I can't pin this on the Sacklers. When I took it, it was specifically get fucked up because they had no Tylenol. You know that Tylenol that makes you go deaf that they put in on Percocets and shit?
Yeah.
This is just opiate. So
yeah.
But, you know, with
I got to be careful what I say, of course, and obviously I want to be mindful of Danny's channel integrity. But when there was all of that phenomenon right after the Luigi Mangione stuff, and people were speculating like, oh, are we going to see some copycat stuff? A part of me did have that like Sackler family in the back of my head, like, I hope somebody's thinking about it.
Oh, I bet you they have real security.
I love it because especially maybe before I left New York, like every fucking dumb shit liberal, again, I attack conservatives, so don't get mad at me, but every dumb fuck liberal knows the story of the Sackler family. And I like to say, now hold that in your fucking head for 2 seconds, that thought, and apply that to the COVID vaccine. Genius. Yeah. The same unreliability of the Sackler family applies to all the other drug companies. What do you think? We just got the one bad guys? But the other one, the experimental vaccine that you can't sue over, the Sacklers got sued, did they not? You can't sue if you got injured by the experimental vaccine that they didn't test properly because they emergency approved it. So I'm amazed at the level of, it's always Democrats. They all know about the Sacklers because they watched the documentary and that was a good liberal thing to know about. They suddenly blank out that Big Pharma is evil when it comes to the mandates. Then they're like, no, that was science. I believe science. But really, no science was done. They just told you to take it and you took it like a bitch. Well, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a lot of use out of that comparison, much the same way when they were saying everybody needs to stay inside. But as soon as the Black Lives Matter stuff kicked off, they were like, racism is a public health threat. You need to get outside and protest. Much the same way I had a lot of fun throwing that in the face of libtards. Yeah, that Sackler COVID vaccine comparison, I also got a ton of utility out of.
It's just a stupid country, dude. It is. Yeah. It's a stupid place. No, everybody's stupid. I don't know. What can I do? I bet I've been stupid most of my life. Don't be stupid.
Yeah, just as what it
is.
So,
Kurt, while I got you, I got just a couple questions for you. Is that cool?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, is God Saad a Mossad agent?
Is
God Saad? Yeah, I think he admitted that he admit that he was for like a summer or something in Mossad or something?
Well, it doesn't have to be a Mossad agent. There's a thing called Hasbara, which is the budget for propaganda that they do to pay. So Michael Rappaport was getting Hasbara money, obviously.
Yeah, I didn't get a dime of it.
Douglas Murray, you see what a fucking punk ass bitch he is? He's a real NATO shill and a fucking Zion shill. That scumbag, and that's
surprise there.
Money. What?
No surprise there at all.
Yeah. So look, the way to be an asset doesn't mean you're a member of the agency of any of them. All of them will work with all kinds of people to pay them off for their ends, and you can watch these ex-Intel guys tell you this straight up. And they'll work with child traffickers and people that sell black tar heroin, whoever. And because they're following orders and they're like, well, this is I'm doing my duty. And
for the nation.
The reason we have mind control is to make sociopaths because a lot of soldiers don't want to kill innocent people, believe it or not. Right? A lot of people don't want to do war crimes and fucked up shit. So we need to find a way to make Manchurian candidates. People that do the crime and don't even fucking remember it. That's handy. Saves money on therapy after, don't it?
Yeah. You know what's funny enough? In Canada right now, there's a real worry that they think that the U.S. government is going to be paying, I guess, like Canadians to sow like anti-Canada, like pro-annexation propaganda, essentially.
They don't have to pay nobody. They're going to do it.
From the Canadian callers, from the 6 of them that called in at the top of the show.
This is all nonsense.
Yeah.
Russia didn't have to pay anyone for people to not like Kamala.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
President Wendy Williams wasn't going to work out, guys. Okay?
Rats.
Because I'll have imbeciles tweeting at me, oh, but I didn't even vote. I told you I don't believe in this shit. But they'll go, oh, whoa, Trump's not good. I'm like, I didn't say he was good. I said, we definitely can't have Kamala.
No.
She was raised in Canada, so that should disqualify you.
I mean, I don't know.
Being not born here is
what would she be even up to right now? Probably starting wars.
No, she would be having, instead of Trump getting us into Iran, she would have got us into Ukraine all the way. But dude, the New World Order's coming whether you like it or not. You get to choose the white square or black square of Masonic duality, and that is all you will get. Yeah. That's the plan. I don't know. Like I said, I believe in God, so I don't have those kind of. Good thing I do, because you're fucked if you don't. I don't know what the fuck.
I guess.
Believing your gender.
Yeah. All right, Chris. I gotta let you go. I got some more calls. I got so many calls.
Can I get one more question?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Quickly.
Okay. Do you remember, Kurt, in October of 2023, when the Israel bombed the Ali al-Arabi hospital, and there was all this speculation for weeks where back and forth, like, they didn't bomb it. Nope, that's a false flag. And it's just so funny how there was back and forth for weeks of this defensive. There's no way it was bombed by Israel. And now it's like every hospital in Gaza is bombed.
Now it's been completely carpet leveled. Yeah, I do remember that. That is funny as shit. I do remember that.
It's just
I
funny
remember
to
watching
think how hard they went defending it. And it's like, your word is nothing, you know?
Well, look, it's the same as Alan Dershowitz saying, hey, I work with Mossad, and I don't think they would work with Jeffrey Epstein. And all he said, that? Yeah, and all he's saying is, I was Jeffrey's plug to Mossad. Yeah. That's all he's saying.
Brutal. And Danny, who do you have winning the Stanley Cup?
Oh, I don't fucking know. Toronto Maple Leafs, of course. Toronto Maple Leafs. I can't.
They're plus 1350. Not a good look. But anyways, I appreciate the time. Kurt, you rule. Danny, you're the man. And
thanks,
I'll catch y'all later. Take it easy.
All right. I'm going to try and bang out. We're going to do 2 more calls here because we've gone way over time here. But I appreciate everybody for hanging on here. And if I don't get to you, we'll do a little extra time afterwards just to see what I can get here. Thank you very much again, Kurt, for coming on. You're the man, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Very appreciated, I'm sure, by all the listeners. Please unmute yourself. Post haste, everybody.
Yeah, well, remember I was going to start a podcast called Low Value Males Plural with Dave Lucas, but he's off doing shit in L.A. with Netflix or whatever, so there's no time. So it looks like...
This is the next best thing. No, I don't know if it's... You're on Low Value Man. Who are you speaking with? What's up, man?
How's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Kurt, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, tell me about the old religion. I hear you speak about it all the time, but I'm sure there's stuff you haven't got into.
It's a catch-all. The old religion. So people go, "Oh, Satanists," but nobody calls himself a Satanist. That's the people that are Satanists. That's low-level shit. That's like farm team. That's just to see if you're cool and a psychopath to maybe being something better at best. What these people are part of is something called the old religion, which is what Mark Passio told me they call it, and Nathan Reynolds told me they call it. And Nathan Reynolds' family was in a totally different thing than the thing Mark Passio was in, the Church of Satan. So it means a lot of different things, but it's basically like the old gods, like out of Game of Thrones, or, hey, why do we do the Olympics? I always like to ask. The eugenics festival to gods that we supposedly don't worship anymore. But somebody does, and that's the old religion. There's a bunch of people.
You think we're worshiping the old pantheons?
Well, I'm not, but
not us.
Look, it's like Scientology. Take Scientology and understand that's a shadow of a copy of a thing that real power believes in. And the reason I started looking into this shit was because I was trying to figure out what the Xenu of the power elite is. Like, what's their thing? Is it lizard people? Like, what's the thing when you get to go to the tippity top of Bridge to Freedom of whatever, like Skull and Bones? Like, what is the story that you learn? And it's too late for you to turn back now. So when you hear about them learning about Xenu and Scientology, they get the briefcase, like it's top secret, and they go, and it's like you either go, oh, this is stupid, but what am I going to do? I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to get here, right? And you leave a note. I wanted to know what that was for all these people, and that's what the old religion is, whatever the fuck that is. According to Nathan,
do you have any idea? Do you have any idea what that thing is?
Amaru is the god of this country, the winged serpent.
Yeah, the winged serpent.
Yeah, Amerigo Vespucci changed his name after Amaru. His name wasn't Amerigo. We're not named after Amerigo Vespucci. Named after Amaru, that god. It's from the Incas. I think it's Incan, not mine. And it's the same as Quetzalcoatl. It's all the same fucking shit. Those serpent mounds that are here in America, Nathan Reynolds' ancestors were treasure hunters like Joseph Smith and shit. It was like all the rage back then. Apparently they found something in one of them mounds that gave them some kind of fucking power. And they have, they believe in principalities, like different divisions of the states of the countries are ruled over by a different being.
Yeah, principalities. Yeah. Some people think it's the Nephilim. There's a lot of
Afghanistan. I know somebody was telling me that, because there's that giant story about Afghanistan, and a guy I just was talking to, I'm not going to say where, but he's a military guy who's doing budgets. He saw top secret things, and I don't even know what to make of this. He goes, yeah, and he didn't tell it to me like he thinks these are real. This is just like a weird ass shit that I saw. They said no one can ever conquer Afghanistan because it's under control of a dragon.
What?
Really?
Yeah. Wasn't Afghanistan where like
shit, dude?
Wasn't Afghanistan where like there was like those military people who said they saw like some giant in a cave?
That was mentioned too, he said, some of that giants, but the main thing is there's some dragon, it's principality. Now, I don't know what the fuck. He didn't tell me that he thinks there's a real dragon. He just told me he saw the thing, and he's like, it was just really weird. He read a page. And that doesn't mean there's a dragon. It could mean it's a code. There's a lot of possibilities.
Sure.
But it's a thing that people tell me shit, and that's one of the things I've heard.
All right. All right, thanks, caller. Do you have another question?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got Kurt here. If human nature is programmability, is there any way we could reprogram some of these people that are messed up right now?
You couldn't have reprogrammed me. I would have, dude. When I was Jehovah's Witness, by the way, you could have never showed me. You could have never showed me some evidence that would make me not believe it, even if you had evidence. Sure. I wouldn't have looked at it. The only reason I left it was because the thing they told me is the answer to everything wasn't doing what it's supposed to, and I was dissatisfied. So that's how you once people get fed up, they get deprogrammed. And so it's kind of collapsing. Look, if you act like the Soviet Union, which is what the West is doing, if you act like that, you're going to collapse just like the Soviet Union. Like Michael Malice's book, The White Pill. This shit's going to collapse under its own weight with or without any savior figure coming because it sucks. That's a fact. Historically, it always does. And so you don't got to deprogram shit. I have a disclaimer for my new podcast, and I have Matt Damon from The Departed. I'm trying to figure out how to put my face over his face, where he goes, listen, fuck stick, you don't got to trust me. Just listen to what I'm saying to you. That's my attitude about telling people shit. I'm not going to walk through the 5 stages of grief with you because you heard the truth and it upset you. I'm upset. That's why I'm blurting it out like an asshole. I'm just going to say it, and I don't care whether you believe it. But because here's why. People told me the truth 20 years ago. And I was like, shut up. But guess what? Now that I know they were telling the truth, I remember it. So that's all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'll remember I said it. You don't need me to convince you. Time will tell you that I'm telling the truth.
Time and nature, I guess.
The rub is by the time you figure it out, you're in your late 40s and nobody gives a shit about you. So that's the rub. A new generation of suckers who forgot Vietnam and Afghanistan and Iraq and all those things, who bright-eyed kids who are going to go out and believe in this horse shit because they were taken out of the home at 5 and indoctrinated like it's North fucking Korea. And that's how the scam keeps going. And then you get your legs blown off guard in a poppy field for a boy fucker, and then we install Al-Qaeda in Syria that you just lost your fucking legs to. And then you find out later that's the scam. So you can't convince nobody of shit. They're gonna learn. They're gonna fucking do it on their own or not.
Yeah.
Well, Kurt, what's your new podcast?
The Derp with Kerp.
The Derp with Kerp. Is it out yet?
Straight Derp.
Straight
When's that coming out?
I'm recording them now and then putting them out. I got to redo a couple because I'm pretty sloppy with it, and I go off on tangents, and I have to actually try to make it good and not just.
No, that's what you got to do. You got to go off on tangents. You know, you need a podcast.
I'm sure there'll be some of that.
Enlighten some of these people.
Yeah. There will be. Let's face it.
Yeah, there'll be some.
So you don't think we could use any of these ancient techniques to maybe bring the people back? Use the same mind control?
No, I don't want any of that. I don't want none of that. I want there to just everybody tell the truth all the time. Everybody could just stop lying. You know,
that would be awesome.
In your life, don't lie. That's all. Just do that.
That's good advice.
But that would change everything tomorrow. If everybody's like, I'm not lying for my country or for my team or for my business or for anything. I'm just going to tell the truth. Patrice always used to tell the truth. Right? He wasn't always right. He was not always right. He was always honest. And people thought it was crazy. That's how sick of a place we live, that a person that just blurts the truth out is a crazy person to people.
Yeah.
Well,
I know the feeling.
He's clear. That's how we're fucked. So you don't have to go kill nobody. You don't got to do nothing except stop fucking lying. There you go.
Good advice.
Just that.
Thank you, Kurt. God bless.
Thanks,
Danny,
man.
It was a pleasure.
Appreciate it. All right, that was over 2 hours, 3 hours for the show. We're gonna let you go here, Kurt. I appreciate you coming on, man. Dude, you are the man. Dude, when's your podcast coming out?
I don't know. As soon as I'm done with it.
Yet? All right. People just follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, Kurt Metzger on Twitter with a check. Kurt Metzger Comedy on Instagram, on Jimmy Dore Show, and a bunch of podcasts all the time. I'll do any podcast.
Yeah, people know where to find you. Thanks so much, man, for coming on, dude. You're honestly the man, and appreciate it so much. And I'll
thanks, man.
Yeah, it was awesome.
All right, bye, guys. That was fun. Thank you very much.
Bye, buddy. Kurt Metzger, everybody. Hold on, let me do this. We're gonna. I know we didn't get to all your calls. I apologize. I have to give away a Patreon.com membership. We're gonna go do a little more time here, even though we're already at 3 hours on the world's best call-in show of all time. Is this not the best call-in show that's ever existed? We're gonna take some calls here. I know some of you have been waiting a long time. I apologize. I just could not get to all of you, and a lot of the callers were going long. Let's go to Jared over here. He's been waiting patiently while I give away a Patreon.com membership. We'll do another. I'm going to go until my bladder is about to burst. We'll do that. Jared, are you there?
Yes, sir.
What's up, man? Thank you for waiting patiently. I, again, apologize to everybody who's waiting, who didn't get to talk to Kurt. But what's up, man? How you doing?
No, I just want to say you're doing great things, and I had a little something.
Yeah, what's up?
You know, I try and bring notes when we get on here.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
I wanted to briefly discuss Mahmoud Khalil and his 4 years spent at the Syrian embassy in.
Is he
England.
Syrian? He is in fact Syrian.
No, he's not. From what I understand, I don't think he's Syrian. He's an alleged Palestinian.
But he's not. I thought he was not.
Narrative.
Oh, okay. I thought he was not Palestinian. I could be wrong. I thought he was somewhere else, but maybe he's Palestinian.
Maybe I'm wrong, but
yeah. Good.
Allegedly, he worked at the Syrian embassy. So
yeah,
the idea is that he's got MI6 connections, and it just so happens that the individual who is the dean at Columbia at the time during this whole escapade is a former member of the IDF and the 8200. Are you familiar with the 8200?
I'm not, no.
So the 8200 is a Israeli intelligence arm of the army, and what they do is they engage in online like bot farms, like when you
sure,
hear
like
Russian, like
yeah. This is like online.
This is what they do.
Yeah,
100%. So the gal who was or is the dean is IDF and 8200. So 8200, they're responsible for extortion, blackmail, Pegasus.
Okay. Yep.
So Pegasus was formed by the 8200. And what this gets into is this whole thing is just like it's I believe Alex Jones. It's a segue, but I believe Alex Jones and he's controlled opposition. The whole Sandy Hook thing was designed to I'm trying not to
discredit the movement.
Correct, and implement precedent to go after Americans for saying certain things and undermine free speech, which is where we're getting into this same scenario where we find.
So here's where I disagree with you, and I disagree with Kurt because you said something specifically there that I want to hit on. You said undermine Americans. Sure. This guy's not an American.
Well, what I'm saying is
because there's no and again, maybe this is the slippery slope, quote unquote, where you're going to see Americans start getting renditioned or whatever the fuck. But
go ahead.
Yeah, this is just that's like my essential point of contention. This is because the First Amendment applies to Americans. Now people want to say, hey, this should apply to people in America. My contention is that it's not. It's it does apply to Americans, and there has been zero legal repercussions for Americans, in terms of actual like charges or anything like that. But this guy and this today the teacher or whatever, or the doctor from Lebanon or whatever, like they're not Americans.
So, what I'm saying is he's literally MI6 and an operative, and he was brought in order to create a precedent in the same way that Alex Jones was. Alex Jones he's controlled opposition. So the idea is what they're doing is they're making it so that certain freedoms are going to be questions. And this goes back to the previous conversation that I had on the bathhouse with the gentleman before about the false flag terrorist
in Australia
that turned out to be fake.
Yeah.
And what they did was in the wake of that 3-month period, they passed anti-hate speech laws that specifically targeted anti-Semitism, and it goes into this thing that Trump is doing, and I wanted to segue that into talking about the ADL and Leo Frank, but what we're seeing
you only have honestly 2 minutes. There's like so many callers that I need to get to. Yeah, so I'm sorry.
Okay, so
you can call in tomorrow night on the bathhouse though. Yeah.
I can do that. There's just an infringement going on freedom of speech, and to get into that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to speak about a few people who went on to be important individuals at Google, who are members of the 8200. I got notes. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get to them properly. So the 8200 is a spy organization. It's a creation of Hamas.
The 8200 is a creation of Hamas or of Mossad?
You know what I mean? Mossad, I beg your pardon.
Oh, gotcha.
So the idea is they're flooding the internet with propaganda, pro-propaganda. And there were multiple individuals who went on to be very important people at Google. Like, I'm talking years at Google, like the head of strategies, and if I could just get to this damn page that I'm trying to fucking speak on, because I have so many damn notes because I wanted to talk on the ADL. But the idea is that the 8200 has infiltrated our government in media, in academics, and we're basically being controlled by Jews, and it's gotten to the point where they're creating false flag events, blaming it on pro-Hamas supporters when we know Israel created Hamas, and the ADL and the ACLU and other Jewish organizations are.
I mean, first off, I don't think Israel created Hamas. I know that they were allowing them to continue getting funding or whatever. I don't think they.
So if I can briefly, I do have those records.
Yeah.
So Israel in 2019, Benjamin Netanyahu said, if you wish to support a single Jewish state, you need to bolster and give your money to Hamas. The American ambassador, I believe.
Yeah, they were allowing money to flow to Hamas, I believe, via Qatar. I'm just saying they didn't create Hamas. Those are, in my opinion, two different things.
Well, there's literally a book by an Israeli Mossad agent who was a whistleblower and discusses how it's Ortrovsky. I'm just gonna look it up real quick.
You only have 1 minute. I'm sorry. I know this is like kind of an in-depth thing, but I just don't. We're already at well over 3 hours.
No, it's literally gonna take 2 seconds to name the gentleman.
Go ahead.
Book. Okay, so in 1992, Israeli intelligence whistleblower Ari Ben Manash revealed how Israeli intelligence was using Israeli terrorists, Palestinian terrorists, to sabotage the Palestinian cause. And in his 1994 book, The Other Side of Deception, former Mossad case officer Viktor Ostrovsky revealed how Mossad was controlling Hamas. So, like, the farthest back you go, there was a small little group of retards, and just
there may be like
a couple dudes' parents,
kind of similar to how like this the CIA or the feds like might get like some sort of domestic terrorist group kind of and prop them up.
Well, there was that
like take some militia like with the
lady?
with the Whitmer thing or something.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's textbook Mossad shit. So that's just what I'm saying. And we'll talk more about the creation of the ADL later. But I just wanted to get into the 8200, and we have Mossad agents rife in our Congress, in our institutions, in our academics, in our pharmaceutical industries. Like we have a full-on.
I mean, Jews are everywhere. There's even one hosting this podcast right now. Everything's been infiltrated.
And what I can say is, from a conversation standpoint, you allow us to have this conversation, so I appreciate you.
Hey, man, this is a free speech
You're
zone.
a gentleman.
Yeah, later, man. All right. Okay. We're gonna take 2 more calls. Some of you are gonna get the short end of the stick. I apologize. That's just how it goes. Also, I'm going to give away a patreon.com low value mail membership. If you want to support the show, we're doing like 3.5 hours tonight. Support the show, $5 a month. You get an extra episode every Thursday or Saturday. And we're going to pick a winner. Format, are you there?
Hey, Danny, long time no talk.
Long time, man. Hold on. We're going to pick a winner right now. Gonna spin the wheel and see who the winner of the patreon.com 6-month membership. You can win $500 once we hit 500. The winner is Anton. Shout out to Anton. Hit me up, Anton. Congratulations, Anton. Hit me up. I will get you your 6-month patreon.com/low value mail membership. What's up, Format?
Okay, it's been a minute, dude. Did you? I think you married your fat girlfriend, right?
Say this again.
You ended up marrying your fat girlfriend, right?
I married my fat girlfriend?
Yeah.
She's not fat.
You guys are married now, I think?
Yeah, we are married, but she's not fat. I mean, I do joke that she's fat, but glass houses, if you will. I'm not really the guy to say that.
Yeah. All right. Shit. Well, I was gonna recommend Kurt some books because he talks about the kind of shit that is close to these books. But since I missed out, I'll recommend them to you. Have you ever read No Treason, The Constitution of No Authority by Lysander Spooner?
I have not, no. I'm not going to lie. I mostly am an audiobook guy. True. One of my main goals is to read more, and I somehow never accomplish that. Also, I'm not texting. I got a bad sunburn, and I'm peeling the skin off my arm. For those of you who said I was texting.
Yeah, my homie Disenthralled did an audiobook on YouTube. You can listen to it whenever. This thing was released in like 1867, just like 2 years after the slaves were freed.
Okay.
And it just goes into like it's good for like any one of those conversations where someone tries to tell you that the Constitution is the be all end all of political thought, and anyone who's against the Constitution is un-American. Here's a guy who's one of the most based Americans of all time who wrote a whole book on all the issues with the Constitution. I think one of the most American things to do is to investigate whether your freedoms are being destroyed or not.
Sure.
And so Lysander Spooner wrote a whole bunch of shit on this topic about how where the Constitution goes wrong. One of the best examinations of the Constitution.
And it's from 1867. Travis Spooner is the name?
Lysander Spooner. Lysander Spooner.
Lysander Spooner.
The book is called No Treason, The Constitution of No Authority. It's thick. Yeah, you can just look up an audiobook on YouTube by Disenthrall. Amazing channel.
Okay. I'll check it out.
Anyways, what else? There's The Most Dangerous Superstition by Larkin Rose. That's based as fuck. By the way, you were asking for people to bring on the podcast.
Yeah.
One of the people I recommend by far is the most is Larkin Rose, who wrote this book. Also, another person, there's a guy named Stephen Kinsella, who's a patent attorney, who's written a book called Against Intellectual Property. And I think someone like you who hosts what are they called, those libertarian events and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think this is the kind of book you'd appreciate against
Stephen
against
Kinsella?
intellectual property. Yes. Sorry, Stefan Kinsella.
Stefan Kinsella.
Techan.
Yeah.
Kinsella. Yeah.
And
Pattern
Larkin,
attorney. You can find
Larkin
him on Twitter.
Willis. Cool. I'll look them both up.
They're based as fuck. And of course, if you've never read I Pencil, My Family Tree is just like a little short story. One of the best short stories to illustrate why we don't need presidents and governments. The idea in it is, it takes the perspective of a pencil who says like, hey, everybody uses me, but nobody knows how to make me.
Right.
And you look into it and you're like, well, what do you mean no one knows how to make a pencil? We all have pencils. You really look into it, nobody knows how to make a pencil. And yet
Right.
we all have pencils. And so why should we have someone in charge of, like, we don't have pencil presidents and we have perfectly good pencils. So why the fuck should we have someone in charge of way the fuck more shit? Someone who's supposed to be like in charge of essentially everything. Whatever falls in his lap, he's supposed to like be a good judge on it. Like, yeah, it's kind of a ridiculous idea when you realize that.
Yeah, that seems like some of that nonsense libertarian thinking where you go, this is a fun theoretical exercise, and you go, in application purposes. I mean, the reason we have a president is just kind of the too many cooks in the kitchen premise where you go, even though there are obviously allegedly checks and balances and all that sorts of stuff, but you need some sort of centralization of power or some hierarchy. Otherwise, I mean, there's a reason why every business has a hierarchy, because if you didn't, it's not efficient.
No, you can have leaders, but like there's a difference between a thing like a community council and a government, right? And the difference is the government has a monopoly on violence, and I don't think anyone should have a monopoly on violence. If violence is demonopolized, then people have to interact with each other fairly. And we can have all kinds of leaders and all kinds of councils and all kinds of organizational structures, but government is not a good organizational structure. It's
Fair enough.
Like literally the only difference between a government and a council, like a community council, is a community council. Like if you don't like what the community council does, they can't say, "Well, fuck you, we're going to take your money anyway."
Right.
The government,
Right.
The government.
One question for you, and then I gotta let you go. So you're in Canada. Thoughts on becoming America?
Yeah. I think it'll be moving in the wrong direction. Because I think the best thing that could happen is, if Alberta seceded, Quebec seceded, every province secedes and becomes their own entity. And then hopefully every municipality and every town secedes and becomes their own thing. And then every person secedes and becomes, that's
Yeah, but the moment provinces start to secede, then there'll be an even better case for them to join the United States when they're on their own. Like,
sure, yeah. Well,
just from a strictly defense standpoint, you're like, no province can, like, if any of those provinces are their own country now and are responsible for their own defense, then you're like, it's even worse situation than Canada as a whole, which cannot defend itself. You're like, you guys have no military. Who's defending you?
Yeah, but who's going to attack us? I mean,
America, literally, at this point. I don't know, Russia, China.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I think it could be pretty chill if they all, like, one day became their own things. But one thing I would say, that I'll put this out into the ether. If Trump really wants to get Canada to like on board with this, he shouldn't say like, "Oh, you're gonna be the 51st state." You should say like, "You'll be the additional like 13 states," right?
Well, again, I've thought about this, and I think that maybe this is some sort of art of the deal thing, where he goes, "You guys are going to be the 51st state," and they're like, "Well, how about we're 13 or whatever, 10 states?" And he goes, "Okay, deal." And then, he goes, "Okay, you'll each be a state." And then they're like, "I think we won." And you're like, "No, you didn't win."
Yeah.
You're like, "Yeah, you settled for 10 states versus 51 states, 51st states." You go, if that's a victory, you think, then he's probably like, "Great. Good stuff."
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I gotta let you go for. Okay. Cool.
One last thing. Yeah, I actually read that whole article you posted about the tariffs.
Yeah, the global restructuring of the
thing, whatever.
Yeah.
And then like some of the things that were confusing, I even got like AI to like analyze it and reorder it and explain shit.
It's pretty heady.
It was a lot. But yeah, no, it actually makes so much sense, and everything like when you understand that, everything that happens makes so much sense, and the fact that like all of these tariffs are happening, no matter what Canada does, no matter what any country does, it makes so much sense. And there was recently, Putin was doing a talk about ending the war with Ukraine just recently, just like a few days ago. When he talked about making some kind of a deal on ending the war, and he mentioned the tariff thing. And mind you, like every time I listen to like any politician, any news person talk about all these tariffs, they have no idea what the fuck to say. They're like, "Oh, we don't know why this is going on."
That's the thing. Once you read this thing, you're like, nobody knows what the fuck is actually going on. They don't. They have no clue.
They're all so clueless. But like, you listen to Putin, he like summarizes that like all of those 50 pages in like 3 words or something. Like he basically he's like, yeah, well, I understand why they're doing it. You know, they gotta how did he? They gotta make like the.
I can't remember manufacturing
it was so eloquent, but like, they got to make their market competitive or something. They got to be able to move production. They got to be able to start like producing stuff in the United States and whatnot. So he perfectly understands exactly what's going on with the tariffs.
They literally laid it out in a fucking paper. It's like all you got to do is just read it, and if you don't understand it, get someone who has like a decent understanding of economics to just explain it to you, and then you just go, okay, this is obviously what's going on. You can not like it. That's clearly what's happening. All right, Format, I gotta let you go, man. Nice talking to you. Format, everybody. Okay, we're taking one last call. I'm sorry, there's so many of you on the line. I just cannot get to you all. I apologize if I didn't get to you. I'm sorry. I should have closed the phone lines earlier. My bad. But I have to piss so badly. Last call of the night. Who am I speaking with?
Tim.
Tim, what's up, man? How's it going?
All right. I'll keep it short because I know you got to pee.
Yeah.
So I'll throw out 2. Okay, don't do that. I'll throw 2 things at you, and you could tackle one or the other if you want both.
Go ahead.
I would like to talk to Kurt about this, but the Bill Burr stuff of him coming out like Free Luigi, it's like, to me, it's Bill Burr's about maybe a little less rich than that guy was who got shot in the back of the head. Like, to come at that and like,
that's a good point. He probably is in the same bracket somewhere. Yeah, they're
tax bracket.
Yeah, I mean definitely tax bracket, but yeah, they're probably near each other. Like, I mean, if that guy was CEO of United Health for 20 years, they would.
And then go to my next question. You pick one.
Yeah.
So I just think that him like saying "kill the rich." So like the people you're telling that to view you as the rich.
Right.
It's ridiculous. And it's silly. And
I think
foolish because I really like Bill Burr. I think he's very funny.
Yeah, he is.
You know,
great comedian.
So you could talk about that, and or something that's not been brought up is the Russia talks that are planned for tomorrow.
Yeah, the Russia
And
talks.
I'm
not super dialed into. It seems like they're figuring out a way to wrap this thing up. I don't think Ukraine's going to be happy in terms of seceding land, but it seems like that's definitely going to happen. It seems like it's going to,
yeah, of course.
It seems like we're at least at the beginning of the end of that war. In terms of so I'll talk more about the Bill Burr thing. I mean, the guy views himself as very like everyman kind of guy, regardless of his, financial status, which is kind of a byproduct of just his success. Like CEO stuff, how they'll kind of do anything for a buck for like, just to essentially like placate and raise like shareholder value and, necessarily not doing the best thing. They just do the thing that's the most profitable. But I don't think he puts himself in that category because, one, he's not like the kind of guy who's like, yo, I'm going to charge like $400 a ticket for my show because I think that's what the market can bear. If he was, maybe that would be closer, but I think he sees that as this like corporatist kind of thing, and that was his issue with it, where he's like, he has an issue with like corporations, which is probably pretty on brand for him. If you look back throughout his whole like career, he's very like, not this fucking corporate chill kind of guy. So I think it was actually kind of on brand for him. I don't know.
All right,
it's like some people like, they don't like some stuff he's saying about Elon Musk, and I mean, it's his right. Like he's probably, I mean, I have seen a lot of anecdotally people online who are like, I'm done with this guy. And it probably will realistically hurt his bottom line, which similar to Elon Musk is somewhat commendable that you're doing something that's like, you're saying something that is actually like going to probably financially ding you, but you believe it, I guess.
Well, I can't speak to that because I'm not that knowledgeable, but I think that, and tell me if you disagree, was that guy, the CEO of whatever health insurance company, was he an asshole? Yeah, probably.
I mean, from the sounds of it, he actually wasn't. From the sounds of it, he was like a guy who like really, like he wasn't like some dude who's like some professional CEO guy. It's like he literally like started at United Health from the sounds of it, and like, not the mailroom, but it's like, it is one of those stories where like he started like lower rung and really just like worked his way up, like the closer to like the American dream kind of thing, where he kind of wasn't this piece of shit.
Than I knew. Yeah. So,
yeah. But it's just, he was the CEO of a healthcare company, and people hate healthcare companies in this country, specifically in this country, because it's just like the relationship people have with the healthcare system here is like not good. Because of medical bankruptcies.
Our whole healthcare system is pretty fucked. I will agree with that.
It is.
But do you think it's morally wrong as a public figure to say that's right, that is justice?
I mean, as a comedian, no. Like, I mean, I'm like, again, I'm not putting handcuffs on anything any comedian wants
He
to
wasn't
say.
taking comedic stance on that.
Yeah, I'm a free market guy. Like, if you want to say something that'll hurt your career and people don't want to come see you, then so be it. Like, I'm not like.
I'm not saying should he be punished. Hold on.
Like, I don't agree. I don't agree with.
He should be punished.
Yeah, like I don't agree with Luigi Mangione, but that's.
Yeah, I'm asking if you think it's morally correct.
I mean, I think it's fine. I don't think anybody's gonna go see Bill Burr, like in this, heavily edited, like out of context thing that's 3 seconds long and then go kill a CEO. I mean, there's a lot of people who are behind the Luigi.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
One more question really quick, and then you can go pee.
Yeah, thank you.
You were on Fox like a month or two ago.
I'll be back on this Saturday night.
I would love to see you more in the mainstream.
Yeah, I'll be back on Fox News on this Saturday night.
Talk to Pierce Morgan. You get on that fucking.
Yeah. I mean, if Pierce, I don't know how you get on Piers Morgan.
Of everyone yelling at each other.
Yeah, I mean, if he asks me to come on, I'll happily come on.
I don't know. Do you have Dave Smith's number? He's on there all the time.
Yeah, I know Dave Smith, but it doesn't really work like that. A lot of those places, you don't just like call them. Generally, they see you online and they get a hold of you. Like, it's like you don't just like call them and be like, hey, I'd like to be on your show.
Okay, yeah,
and they're like, yeah, they're like, no shit, you do. It just doesn't really work that way.
So Saturday night, what time?
Saturday night, 10 p.m. Fox Saturday Night with Jimmy Fallon. I will be back on. Tune in.
All right.
Yeah, tune in.
And that's Low Value Mail, guys.
Hey, that's my line.
Subscribe and like Danny's channel.
Fuck yeah. Thanks, Timbo. Later, man. Tim, everybody. Doing the fucking heavy lifting for me. All right, that has been the show. We did 3.5 hours. Can you believe it? Is the stream even still going? It's still going. I keep getting this YouTube notification, but it's still going. If you like what I'm doing, you want to support the show, you want to maybe win $500, sign up, patreon.com/lowvaluemail, MAIL. $5 a month, you get an extra episode every week. You get to support everything I'm doing. You help me. Again, I apologize if you called in and you didn't get through. I'm sorry. I didn't estimate the amount of calls that were going to come in, and I kind of lost track of it, and I should have turned off the call and thing sooner, but such is life. Catch a new episode of The Bathhouse tomorrow night, 9 p.m. live from the Stand Green Room. We are no longer welcome in the studio, unfortunately. So we'll be back in the green room. Long story. It's not a long story. They just we keep fucking messing with their equipment, and it's a pain in the ass. So we'll be back in the green room tomorrow. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate you all. Anton, get a hold of me. I'll give you a 6-month Patreon membership. That has been the show. Shout out to Kurt Metzger. Shout out to you all. Shout out to Connor Dog. He's going in for surgery on Thursday. Should be fairly routine, although he does have to get a chunk of his fucking femur cut off. Anyways, that's been the show. Thanks very much, everybody. We will see you next week with Nick Bryant. It's been 2 weeks in a row, but Kurt was a good fill-in, last-minute fill-in. And we'll be back with Nick Bryant next week. Good night, everybody.
Really a poet, you know it, all my shit heroic. Empathic abilities, yeah, my face be also stoic. Bleep, blow up, nigga, that just means I'm working. They see me as a leader, so that's why I'm Captain Kirkin. These tracks from the stars, that much is for certain. You can feel this hit if you up or if you hurt. I'm raising my stock, not talking my feet in some Birkin. Number Johnny 5, got a fucking short circuit. Bring the track to life when I spit phenomenally. When I hit, she feel that shit in her abdominals. These rappers make me laugh like comic view, they comical. You know I got a ball out, I hit the track running just like Sonic do. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, they was trying to get me on my hype shit. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, and they tried to down me up some KO type shit. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, now we pulling up fresh on some flight shit. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, they was trying to get me on my hype shit. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, and they tried to down me up some KO type shit.